EPerth have been talked down over the summer, yet a first-up effort last weekend against the reigning premiers may have swayed the view of some tipsters. Despite not claiming the 4 points, the Royals went within a straight kick of defeating Claremont on their home patch last weekend. Today they face arch-nemesis WPerth. The Royals won the most recent encounter between the two clubs by 27 points last August. Bill Monaghan's men, on the other hand, have had a disappointing start to season 2012. A first-up loss to Subiaco on this ground was well below par, followed by a home defeat to Swan Districts last weekend. WPerth have now lost 8 of their past 9, dating back to round 18 last season. A much-needed victory would be an understatement for the Falcons today, with Claremont to follow next weekend. It's time for the first derby of 2012 as traditional rivals collide, EPerth and WPerth, live from Leederville Oval.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Medibank Stadium for the first of the Perth derbies for season 2012. EPerth at home to WPerth. Certainly the Royals finished full of running last week against the Tigers at Claremont Oval, starting the final quarter 5 goals in arrears. They got to within 4 points before the final siren, so they bring some momentum into this afternoon's match. WPerth, on the other hand, well, they've got some serious question marks hanging over their heads, and some of them starting to yellow a bit with age now. It has been a long time since they have shown any winning form, but no better time to start than against their traditional rivals, the Royals. Well, let's head to the ladder now and take stock of the situation before last night's fixture. There was one. Subiaco and Claremont, the two undefeated teams. Swan Districts and South Fremantle notched up a victory each, and then all the way down to East Fremantle, who don't actually start competition until this afternoon. There was one match last night, South Fremantle versus Subiaco under lights at Fremantle Oval, and the Lions came from behind, kicking 6 goals straight in the final quarter to finish 8 points in front of South Fremantle. So it's been a great start to the year for Subiaco. Looking at the other games to be played this afternoon, a beauty down at East Fremantle Oval, the Sharks versus the Tigers. That should be a good one indeed, and we'll be keeping you up to date with the scores there, as we will with the match at Brown Stadium between Perth and Peel Thunder, and this week Swan Districts have the bye. Well, it's been an eventful week for EPerth coach Tony McHale, starting at the Tribunal on Monday night, and after confronting the umpires in the match against Claremont last week at half-time, he finished up $1,000 lighter in the pocket for the exercise. But he is an experienced campaigner and certainly back focused for this afternoon's match, as is Bill Monaghan, who's got his own problems. Been a long time since the Falcons have been able to find the winning formula, and he'll be doing his best to get them over the line this afternoon in the Perth Derby. Let's have a listen to the coaches now. They were visited earlier by our boundary rider, Todd Ridley.
We were pleased from the aspect that all of the things that we were trying, or we were training for during the pre-season, a lot of those aspects came out in the game last week. We're probably inconsistent with it, and obviously we'll continue to strive to perfect that or get as close as we can to it, but that was pleasing from that point of view.
And today, home ground advantage, your passionate supporters are here in numbers. What more do you need for motivation than our Perth Derby?
Yeah, looking forward to it. We always have great rivalry with WPerth, and it is a pretty pivotal game for a round 3 game that both sides really need to win.
Billy, 2 games down, yet to register a win. What are you going to do different today to get the 4 points?
Well, we just need to play consistent footy over the 4 quarters. We've struggled to do that in both games. Both sides have jumped us, Subi and Swans, and we've battled hard at times to get back into the game, and that's taken its toll late, and they've kicked away. So, but having said that, maybe Subi with 3 wins on the board, they're the form side of the competition. Maybe that form's probably not as bad as it appears on paper.
Will the traditional Perth Derby be used as motivation to get the best out of group today?
Oh, look, that is a motivating factor, always is in games against EPerth, but ultimately our season needs to get back on track, and to win, regardless who the opposition was today, is the biggest motivating factor, and that's what we need to keep telling the players. But it's a derby, so I would expect it to be fairly hot early on.
Yes, indeed it will be. Perth derbies always are. New player to the club there in young Matthew Fowler across from Southport in the Queensland Football League. Ray Bartholomew getting his hands on the football early and doing some stretching, Anthony Salikas. Lane Rasmussen thinking about the game ahead. Fowler again with Dion Flay. And into the Royals' rooms, Danny Charters will be key position in defence for them this afternoon. Hayden Crozier was a very good player for them in his debut last week. And Dylan Robertson, probably their best, took about a dozen marks, had a lot of the football and in a lot of saving moves for East Perth. And there's Michael Swan, captain of East Perth, as we welcome to the commentary box for the first time this year Alex Malcolm and Brad Wirra. Good afternoon to you both, and hot off a season of A-grade cricket. Alex, we're not going to talk too much about it because beaten in the grand final Subiaco Floreat, but a really good one for you to get back your head around to this afternoon, because Perth Derby is always full of excitement and intrigue.
There's plenty of excitement. We did one in round 22, the three of us up at Arena Joondalup, and it was a cracking game, a lot of spite and a lot of intensity. I'm really looking forward to today's contest.
I'm a bit the same. I'm a bit like the East Fremantle boys, Phil. Sat out the first couple of weeks, and as you know, this time of the year it's just fantastic. You're playing footy, and all the boys out there will be champing at the bit. Well,
let's have a look at the head-to-heads, guys, and we go back to season 2011. They only met twice, and in round 12 it was West Perth by 12 points, and in round 22 the situation was reversed. The Royals over the top by 27. Well, let's have a look at the East Perth lineup, Brad, and certainly served them pretty well last week. They were very, very good and strong finishes.
And they've got some super players across all lines. Really like Gary Moss. Look to him to have a number of possessions today. Some big inclusions for him in Paul Johnson. And as we know, Josh Smith is just such an important player for them wherever he plays, whether that be in the ruck, centre-half forward or sweeping across half-back.
And flipping over to the West Perth team, they just haven't been able to buy 4 points for a long time now, Alex. But when you look at the team on paper, it's just hard to believe.
It's extraordinary, really. At round 17 last year, they were 3 games clear at the top of the WAFL ladder. They've since lost 7 of their last 8, including the finals of the first 2 rounds. They've made 2 changes today. Matt Fowler, the inclusion from Southport, his first game for the Falcons. Jay Van Berlo is back. He's an important inclusion at the expense of both Mark Crisp and Darcy Barton, who is a late withdrawal.
It'll be interesting to see some of the first gamers as we see the Jared Oak. Well, there's the West Perth players running around out there, and that was early when they were warming up. Didn't actually have their Guernseys on as East Perth, led by Michael Swan, make their way onto the field. The victorious reserves players just forming a guard of honour for them to run through. Gary Moss, the last out there. They a little slow to start last week, but certainly as the game warmed up, they nearly caused a real upset and defeated Claremont 5 goals behind. They were at three-quarter time as we see the toss of the coin. And Jason Salisic has won the toss, and he's going to kick down toward the Vincent Street end of the ground, or if you like, the southern end, as the East Perth players form a pretty tight circle. Jared Oakley-Nichols was a player who started well last week, Brad. Kicked a couple of early goals.
I think he'll really benefit from not being on an AFL list. Now, that might sound a little funny, but he won't have the pressures of it. He's a fantastic player. Taken really early in the draft to Richmond, had another opportunity at West Coast. He's in his home state. I think without the AFL burden, really look to Jared to have a great season for East Perth.
Yep, he certainly has got the skills, as did this man riding the boundary for us this afternoon, Todd Ridley, in some, well, glorious weather for football, Todd. Probably a little bit warm, but I'm sure you're enjoying it down there.
Yeah, it's very nice today, Phil. 23.3 at the moment, humidity at 40%, and the wind's 17 kilometres an hour from the south-southwest. We've mentioned it a couple of times, Perth Derby, traditionally a very tough encounter, and I don't think today will be any exception whatsoever. Both teams looking for a first win for the season. West Perth obviously lost their first 2 games to Swan Districts last week and Subi the week before. Subi, the form team at the moment. Swans, a lot of the experts picked them to come down the bottom, so not a great start for West Perth. East Perth, on the other hand, what a terrific debut for the season last week against the reigning premiers Claremont, going down by less than a kick. Today is going to be a fantastic day. Beautiful down here on the boundary, Phil, and I'm picking East Perth to win in a nail-biter.
East Perth for me. What about you, Alex?
Yeah, East Perth for me. Just I think they're quite buoyant after last week. They really should have won if they kicked straight in the last quarter, and I think West Perth are really battling. They'll have to fight hard today.
Go on, Brad, be daring.
No, I can't. East Perth for mine.
Okay, so it's a bit of a clean sweep as we see Jason Salis there. Mark Hutchings has been a terrific player. Well, he had a great season last year and he started off this season, Alex, in great form as well.
He certainly has, and we forget he played 15 matches for East Perth in 08-09 before he got drafted to St Kilda.
And, of course, Gary Moss had a couple of good seasons with Hawthorn, now with the Royals. As the game is about to get underway, here's Alex Malcolm.
So it'll be the Royals going to the northern end, and the bounce favours Martin first up, but he won it down for East Perth. Attacking it hard was Salicic, and he comes away with it off the left, tumbles it inside the 50. Well done, McCauley playing in front, hands off to Derricks under pressure. Salikas provided the presence there, and the Royals are happy to see it over the line.
Let's go to Todd Ridley with East Perth's bench.
Yes, thanks, Phil. We got starting on the bench. We've got Grover, Monteith, Dobson and Crozier, who was fantastic last week on debut.
Very exciting player, Hayden Crozier. High throw in. Neither ruckman touched it at the back. Wolf, how good is he? Brilliant pickup. Great hands to Sweet. It took too long. Holding the ball. Wonderful chase, Anthony Salikas.
Wasn't a great pressure there from the forward. It's his second effort already. He caused the turnover for the boundary throw-in, which would have gone unrewarded. But as we see here on replay, just great forward pressure.
Right out. Well, he's yet to kick a goal this year. Of course, he's been the leading goal kicker a couple of times at the Falcons. 252 in his career, but 0-3 in 2 games so far. This one's floating close to the line. It won't carry the journey. And in fact, no one touched it, so behind to get us underway for the Falcons.
And Todd Ridley's got the Falcons bench.
Yes, thanks, Phil. We've got Black, Jones, Jordan Jones, Joel Rice and Michael Maskoulis starting on the bench for the Falcons.
And Adam Pryor's marked the kick in, goes short, taken by Charters. Quite remarkable, Brad, that lack of awareness by Aaron Sweet a while ago.
And no voice from his teammates.
Yep. Now the kick from the Charters, not a good one, but fortuitously it falls into the arms of Dylan Robertson. Outstanding in defence last week. Long kick from Robertson, well inside attacking 50. Smith nearly got to the fall of the ball. Now he controls it pretty well. Breaks clear. Great strength by Josh Smith, and he nearly got the early reply. Oh, Lauren French just signalling the behind there, and Josh Smith, he threw his head back because he knows what might have been. He really probably had a bit more time to straighten up even, Brad.
He did, and he's really mobile. You look at him and sometimes think he's not as mobile as he is, but he showed his mobility there.
Burns went to Hunt and now to Hutchings. He goes to Salikas. He's been productive early. Gives it off to the running Manning. Last year's reserves best and fairest. Very talented player. His kick wasn't so great though. It aided Derricks for the Royals into Sweet, looking for Robertson, who showed it. He had plenty of time in traffic there. On the bounce, Charters to Oakley Nichols took too long. And the turnover might occur here. Salikas put his head over it bravely. Hutchings played for high contact. The umpire's circling. He says it's mine. He'll bounce it at half full.
Billy Monaghan would be really happy, I think, with the start by his players. Their defensive pressure has been outstanding, but at 0 and 2, looking down the barrel at 0 and 3, so it should be.
There's the knockdown by Kernan, taken though by Moss. Throws it onto the right boot again. The Royals inside attacking 50. Burns comes out to meet the footy. That'll earn him a free kick. Eads just going right over the top of Dustin Burns, and that was a lack of discipline. Just needed to temper his attack on the player. You can see here. Short pass by Burns. Goes to Van Berlo. The switch has gone to the outer side of the ground. Here's a chance now for Pettigrew. Chips it up for Saylor. Allowed, it was just had too much elevation. Through came Clutterbuck, but backing up is Pettigrew. Did well to tidy up his mistake, and then it was an untidy kick. Goes straight to Danny Charters. He gathers it. Has time to direct a nice pass to Clutterbuck. He wants to get on with it quickly. He was probably within range, but decided to chip it into the pocket and found the go-to man in Josh Smith. Well, he's always going to be their preference as a target, Brad, and on that occasion he just found room.
He did, and underestimate this big fella at your peril, but the importance of skill and hitting your target there. Pettigrew did all the hard work, had plenty of time, no voice again, turned the footy over, and it went to his direct opponent. Domino effect, shot on goal for East Perth.
Well, he should have had a major just a moment ago. Josh Smith has got an opportunity. He up on a fairly acute angle. It won't favour the right footer. Comes off the boot pretty well, straight through the middle. So Josh Smith, who was a good player last week, kicking 3 goals, looks as though he could be in for a dynamic game this afternoon. That's a great start. East Perth leading by a goal.
And already causing West Perth some headaches, but as we see on the replay here, Pettigrew and the turnover I was talking about, The ball comes straight back over his head to his direct opponent, who got back off the mark really quickly and saw the big fella unmarked, who this time, you said, Lammy, got the job done.
Very polished finish by Josh Smith. Of course, 50 goals last year. West Perth fans must look on and envy, given he played 20 games for them, kicked 24 goals for them in 07 before he went to North Melbourne. That bounce out of the second circle. So
you gentlemen may not have seen Tim Martin before rucking for East Perth. He's a bit of a giant of a man, isn't he?
He is a monster. He's up against Coonan, who's even taller, probably not as strong across the shoulders, but nonetheless a very, very good ruckman in this competition, Brad.
And what it allows is it allows Tony McHale to play him in the ruck, Smith and Johnson down forward, which not many teams will be able to match up on those two.
It's a dooming prospect for any defence. And Martin's in over the footy at ground level. You'd hate to be underneath him. The man getting up is Van Berlo and Moss. So the third bounce here. Man on man all around this contest. So Martin just slaps it clear, and Wolf read it best off hands, as he's done so often in his career. His kick inside 50 let him down though, and the three-time best and fairest for the Falcons, Dion Flay, rebounds. His kick out wide for Tedesco was cleaned up well. Van Berlo took 2 bites at it, but fortunately he had time. He can hand it off to Manning, who kicks towards half forward, but he spotted the only Royal there, and Robertson can come away with it.
Again, he holds up an attacking move, kicks the ball out towards Johnson, who had to stand underneath the footy for a fair while. Did extremely well and was paid the mark ahead of Dan Hunt. Drives the ball up to the half-forward line. Moss was the target, goes past him, goes past Pettigrew almost, and then Moss made a good contest of it to keep the ball on the half-forward line for the Royals. So through 6.5 minutes of the first quarter, East Perth 1-1, West Perth are behind. Pettigrew going back to pick up Josh Smith. You'll know he's played a game this afternoon, Pettigrew. That's an interesting way of looking at the footy. Having a close look at it. Danny Charters had a fresh air shot. The ball fell for Moss. The hand pass went straight to Hutchings. Now, he was taken in the back. I thought the tackle wasn't too bad. He made an attempt to turn him around, but it was high. Actually, Brad, that was the reason for it. And that kick
Out of bounds
from Van Berlo is a mistake that he should never have made. That was just careless, Brad.
He's had a couple of shaky ones to start with, Van Berlo.
Pryor from right up on the half-forward line, kicks long towards Smith, but that was well anticipated by Hunt. Came in from the side, judged it perfectly, took a good mark. Now he's got Bartholomew out there who puts himself under pressure by dropping an easy mark. Now he does well. Good talking from Burns. Kicks it out in the front there of Rasmussen. Keeps the ball inside play. Goes back. He's surrounded by Royals. Well done, Rasmussen. Got a hand pass. In the end, it came to Alessio, who was dumped as he kicked. Forced the error. Now the turnover. The ball's landed with Macaulay.
A lot of skill errors early here, Brad. I'll get back to that as Macaulay goes long inside the 50. Smith had to fly against 3. That's how highly they regard him. They all went up with him. Oakley Nichols tossed out of it without it. Bartholomew gave it to Manning, then Van Berlo. Did he get a clean hand pass out? Yes. Flay, Van Berlo, Pettigrew, quick kick out of traffic. They were under the pump there, the Falcons. Oh, Sweet spilt what he should have taken on the first grab, but fortunately it came back to him. Payne to Martin, back to Payne, has some time, had more time than he thought actually, hooks it inside the 50, Smith from behind, couldn't hang on, it was a big fly, but he couldn't come down with it. Pettigrew to Hunt, good tackle, Oakley Nichols, here's Monteith, always dangerous, to the even more dangerous Swan, who fires and misses to the near side. They're under siege, the Falcons.
Todd, the East Perth players wearing black armbands, as we can see there this afternoon.
Yeah, Phil, Paddy Liffletter, who's an East Perth stalwart, has been involved in the club for a long, long time. His mother passed away during the week, so condolences to the Liffletter family.
Indeed, as Burns brings the ball into play, finds Bartholomew on the defensive 50, goes with a long kick to the scoreboard wing. Alessio from behind, good contest, recovery was great, but he spun out without the footy. Sweet gets his hands on it, the hand pass not particularly good, and there's a push in the back. Payne, putting his body on the line, has got a free kick for a push, as you can see in the replay here, right in the middle of the back. So Payne, who was pretty good last week for East Perth, he was one of the reasons for them just keeping on, goes to White. White even more defensively. They've got it right back to the defensive 50. Derrick's kick over the top of the oncoming players. Here's a chance now for Tedesco. Couldn't control the footy. He went Mascoulis. Looked as though he might have been taken high, and a standing tackle applied by 3 West Perth players there on Grover, and the umpire comes in and calls for the footy.
Different number this year for Grover. He looks a different player with number 4 on his back.
He does. He's got a very boyish look about him, Grover, as Monteith roves it cleverly. Gave it to Payne, a developing player. The kick met down there by Manning, who put a fist into it and knocks it into the clear on the outer wing. Payne will get there first. Needs support now from Swan. Oh, good effort by the West Perth player out there in Brown. A solo effort. Copped one in the back of the head and earns himself a free kick. That was a great effort by Stephen Brown.
Thanks, guys. Type of stuff you do in training, Brad. 2-on-1s.
We spoke about the skill areas and the turnovers. We'll put it down to the Perth Derby for the first part, but round 3, the boys now should be getting rid of the cobwebs, and the skill level should be a lot better.
Oh, 2 players ran into each other. It was Alessio coming back with a flight who ran into his teammate there in Fowler coming the other way, but the kick was perfect from Salikas. And Fowler will line up for his first shot at goal in a Falcons Guernsey.
He's a good size. I was down in the rooms before the game and had a close-up look at this player who's come from the Queensland Footy League, and he's going to be a good target for West Perth.
As he showed then, and Alex Alessio, he won't take a backward step either. Had him in the 18s a couple of years ago. Tough as nails.
20 years of age, across from Southport in Queensland. He's got under this, but it'll carry the trip and get through for a goal. Fowler kicks his first for the Falcons, and they draw the margin back to 1 point.
Really good finish from Fowler there, and a really good sign for West Perth. Obviously, it's his first game in the red and blue. To see his teammates come and congratulate him from all over the field. So a really good positive sign and good body language for the West Perth boys.
And considering that they are missing Brent Lacroix, of course, through suspension, he's got another week to serve. A pretty handy player to come in as a replacement. And he did run close to the man on the mark there. He forced him to kick it very high, but Alex, as you called it, he got the journey just.
Sort of one against the tide for the Falcons then. East Perth really should have had 2 or 3 on the board by now.
Johnson beaten to it by Kernan, but Grover sharked it cleverly, punts the ball inside, attacking 50 for the Royals once again. Here comes Eads, the speedster. Oh, he finds a lot of room. All the Falcons players ran away from him. Steadies, shoots from 25 metres out and kicks a goal. Well, that was way too easy. When an opposition player, Brad, has the ball in the danger zone like Eads, then you don't run away from him. And in the replay, you will see no one went towards Eads. They all ran away from him.
They did indeed, and it was a great centre clearance here from Grover, just straight down from the big fella, and then on the boot, get it into a dangerous area. And as we see the ball come inside 50 here, he's got 3 or 4 metres. Everyone ran away from him, and he is quick, but a really good finish, and that's a great start for him.
You wouldn't get an easier shot than that at training.
Absolutely not. And it's not like he's playing on a first gamer either in Burns.
No, he's a veteran, of course, Burns, of what is he now, 155th game today.
He's the oldest man out there too, Dustin Burns. I'm sure he wouldn't want me to mention that. But second goal in just his second game. Brett Eads, lovely finish. Here's Robertson in the middle, lost control of it. Jim Moss was brave, just threw his body at the football. It spilled out and has been socked forward towards East Perth's 50. But getting back there is Black for the Falcons. And through hands it's come to Salisic and now Saylor, who goes looking for Black and missed him. Well, that was a bad error, and it's meant that a boundary throw-in will ensue on the outer side.
They're really simple errors too, as we just saw there. 2 or 3 metre handball under no pressure. Should hit the target there.
So Kearnan's sitting off Johnson here, who's the bigger body, and neither ruckman touched it as they jockeyed for position. Johnson fell to the ground, never got rid of the football, just looked for support, and everybody's dived on it. And again, all the players happy for the umpire to come in and bounce it.
Can you get up yourself? Now where the line is, don't step over and give away a free.
So an unusual opening.
Forceful to be a free kick, no warning.
Bill Monahan would be a little concerned at the moment. A lot of the players been with the Royals. Black at the back, fished it out. Payne just sitting off the pack well, gave it to a man in trouble, and White was run down from behind. Salikas' tackling has been first class so far, and he gets another hold in the ball decision go his way.
Yeah, great play by Salikas. He's really started well. Lateral with the kick. Finds Mascoulis just in his second game with the Falcons as well. Goes by the left boot. Bit of a floater, backing back there and doing well, Macaulay. He has turned into a real top-line player for East Perth, Macaulay. Finds Oakley Nichols. If they could just get a bit more out of him, I think you were saying earlier, Brad, another half a dozen or so possessions out of him each match.
And I think that'll come. As I said, the AFL pressure will be relieved. He'll just play week in, week out with EPerth. He won't be have that pressure or the burden on his back. He's a really good player, Jared.
Good news with the footy now. He's got the benefit of 50-metre penalty here, which takes him the right side of the centre circle. He's on the lead, is Smith. He just got 1.5 metres on Pettigrew, and already, I'm not saying that there's anyone more qualified to be playing on Josh Smith than Michael Pettigrew, who's a good player himself, but gee, this man, once he gets near the footy, he's got giant-sized hands, and he just wraps him around the footy. Doesn't come out.
And we spoke about the big fella playing in the ruck, allowing Smith and Johnson to play down forward. These big blokes, it's an old cliche, but they're not going to get any smaller as the game goes on. And he's a super, super talent.
Yep, and very, very fit. I don't know if we've seen him as fit as this for a while. Josh Smith runs to about 53 metres, starts it right. It's heading right for the behind post. And is that a mark? What a great mark taken there just by the behind post. And that's young Crozier. Well, what an extraordinary mark. He was rearmost in that pack, got up very, very high, marked it on his chest in the end. I think we might be seeing that in the highlights reel a bit later on.
I feel a little deja vu. He played for Vic Metro, I think, last year, and a lot of people would have seen it, but he took the big hanger in the goal square at Subiaco Oval.
He got up twice as high as that.
He did, so he can take a grab.
Yeah, that was a remarkable mark he took down there, right, almost right on the goal line, and that one, terrific. Smith coming up with the blood rule. So Pryor taking his place, and Crozier, not too sure what the hold-up is. It's just because waiting for the players to come back onto the for the blood rule. So
Manning is off with the blood rule. Phil, he's just got a bit of blood on his knee. He'll be fine.
Good on you, thanks, Todd. Crozier shouldn't miss this. The left footer comes in, steers it straight through the middle. That's a great result for EPerth. So Crozier, great mark, good goal, and EPerth now go out to a comfortable lead of 13 points.
And the scoreboard's starting to reflect the amount of play that they've had with the one from WestPerth against the Tide. But as we see, Smith causing some headaches already for Pettigrew, and a great run and leap and mark on the chest there. So his direct opponent will learn very, very quickly not to give him 2 or 3 metres to have a run and jump at the pack.
You can see why he was the first round pick for Fremantle last year's national draft. He's now kicked 3 goals in his 2 matches so far, 2 last week against Claremont. Very talented player, Hayden Crozier.
He may not be in EPerth colours for too long.
No. So back in the middle, EPerth have only had 5 more possessions, but they've had 5 more inside 50s than the Falcons. The Falcons trying to go forward again, but it's Dobson chopping it off, who played on and almost ran into trouble, but he got out of it. He's got Robertson, who's been busy early. He's looking to forge his way back into the Fremantle lineup. Clutterbuck, Corley, as you said, Phil, really coming of age as a footballer, although that kick's really let him down, and Rice will intercept and stroll into an open goal and get one back for the Falcons.
You should be ashamed of yourself, Alex, setting him up like that.
Kiss of death. Commentator's curse, and the margin's back to 7 points.
Good play by Rice, good anticipation. But the importance of skill. EPerth, it was the right decision. They actually had the extra number out on this side of the ground, but just poor execution. You can see at the bottom of the screen, I think it's Charters that was there. But good interception and a good finish by Rice. And again, almost second against the Tide.
Yeah, that's quite right. They're just hanging in there, but they just need to stay in the contest. Anything can happen in matches like this, and a pretty good crowd in as well this afternoon. The conditions ideal for watching footy, maybe not for playing it just quite yet. Johnson wins the tap. Another clearance by EPerth. Moss rode it beautifully, stylishly onto the left boot. Long kick on goal, and it's a score. Just the wrong side of the post. How would that have been if it was a goal? Gary Moss in full flight is one of the most talented players in the competition.
Brown to Flay, the runner-up and winner in the best and fairest last year. Now Flay has let himself down and kicked it out of bounds on the full. So it's skill errors really hurting the Falcons at the moment. Oakley Nichols ran his full measure and sets it high. Who can fly for the Royals? Well, in front was Jones, roving Eads, doing exactly what a small man should. He's got 2, and that was a beauty.
That's very, very exciting for a small forward pocket. Full flight. We'll see it in replay. Really good play by Jared Oakley-Nichols to get the ball in deep to a really dangerous spot. He stole about 10 or 15 metres on the arc, got it into a dangerous spot here. Good contest from Moss, I think. But, gee, that is fantastic play by the small forward pocket. Front and centre, as they say, and a great finish to boot.
Yep, he'll be 25 in December this year, Brett Eade, so he's been around a bit. He was down at Claremont for a while, but of course it's a very hard team to break into down there. But EPerth would be delighted at having a player of his skill lurking in their forward line. Now, an infringement in the square, so an EPerth free kick. Martin takes it, long kick, not particularly tidy, but gets plenty of distance. Jones should have done better in the front of the pack. Flay tidies up, but then the hand pass was knocked down. Chance here for Crozier. He was dispossessed. Flay goes in and gets the footy again. Hand passes to the feet of Brown. He knocks the ball back toward Flay, taken out of his hands by Eads in a tackle. The ball coughs up, knocked out by Jones. Bartholomew had a chance, but attacking the ball even harder was Wolf. He may get one in the back. The whistle has gone, and Wolf, just sheer commitment, threw himself on the footy, and Jordan Jones threw himself on Wolf.
It was just reckless, really. The ball was going nowhere bar out of bounds. Take it out, set up again. Instead, it's now 25 metres out. Lucky to get away with it.
Yeah, centering kick, not particularly strategic. Taken by Zanetti, kicks to open space at half-back. Mascoulis will get there. Took him a while to track the ball down, but now he's around under his left boot. Looks for and finds Van Berlo into the corridor, just behind the centre circle. Bartholomew, hand passes there to Zanetti. The big man took a fair while. Under pressure, the hand pass not good. Chance now for Alessio. Dragged down, holding the footy. Had prior opportunity. Grover with it now. Away go EPerth as Grover spots and finds Josh Smith on the outer side of the ground, just behind right centre wing.
Smith will go to centre-back. McCauley is there to set up, come broadcast side. Now Grover's got some space if the ball will sit up for him, and it does. He's got Monteith with the hand pass, misses its target by a long way. Monteith, fortunately, had support. McCauley again, just blazes away. Pettigrew will fly, or Brown spoiled him, and at the back, Crozier sitting and waiting, ran to 50, and that is a lovely looking finish. Crozier has 2. And EPerth are now 3 goals clear.
2 kicks, 2 goals. It's a great conversion ratio by young Hayden Crozier.
Well, I know Fremantle were after some skillful players, and as you said, Alex, that's why they took him early. And this young fella, he can actually use it by hand and by foot. 2 West Perth players flew. He stayed down. Yes, it came over the back, but that's a beautiful finish from just on 50.
So the Royals players excited, so too are their supporters, and they're loving what they're getting from this young man. Outstanding contributor last week and off to a great start this afternoon as well. Martin won the tap on the way down. Hutchings, though, for West Perth, gathered the footy and threw it onto his left boot, tumbles it to the half-forward line. Not a great bounce there for Salikas. Gets White back into the contest. Weathered the storm in the tackle, broke free, and then delivered nicely to Wolf. He can chip it over the top to Clutterbuck, who was prolific with his ball winning last week against Claremont. But Wolf elects just to steady things down. Another stodgy kick, high to a contest, close to the boundary line, and there's been a push. So West Perth going to get the free kick. And Jordan Jones will be the recipient. So there's the scoreline, a 20-point margin, 23 minutes into this first quarter. So good start by the Royals. Jordan Jones stubs his toe, goes straight to Crozier. Hand passes over the top to Josh Smith. He's outside 50, goes with a centering kick, almost as if he intended to hit Dion Flay on the chest. Well, that was a forward move that should have resulted in a lot more for the Royals. Flay finds Brown. Brown looking for and finding Zanetti, so they're out of trouble. They were in deep trouble just a few seconds ago. Zanetti goes to Van Berlo, to Jordan Jones. Hand passes off now to Bartholomew, who can run straight through the centre circles, straight through the centre square. Gets to 55 metres. Long kick on goal. Ball comes off the hands of the pack. Who's there? Alessio. Hand passes cleverly and intelligently to Salikas. From one step, Salikas onto the boot. And again, there it is, Brad. Almost against the run of play once more. The Falcons have another one.
Good play by Ray Bartholomew there. Took all the space in front of him. Didn't panic. As you called it, Philly went across the centre square. Got it inside, nice and deep. Really unselfish play as we see Ray come here. Taking the picture as he goes along. Gets it all in, nice and deep. Good contest from their senior forward there in Rice. Alex didn't panic. Alessio there. Gives it front and centre to the number 11 who got the job done.
Can't give him that much time, can you? thing that you noticed there with that forward raid and Bartholomew taking that space is it didn't allow the Royals to get numbers back as they had done with the previous raid, and therefore able to rebound. Back in the middle, Wolf puts his head over it as he always does. He gave a hand pass into the shin of Martin and it ricocheted away. And there is a high contact on Rasmussen.
Behind you, Mark. That's it.
Who Brad was telling me pre-game loves to put his head over the footy. A very brave young player. He gave it off to Brown, who kicks to a one-on-one. Alessio was outpointed there by Sweet. Sailor, very cleverly done to get past White and then send it into the corridor. Swan was brave, floating in front. Zalisic to Salikas, who tripped over his own feet. It went through Anderson at the back. Zanetti couldn't gather. Anderson has support. He needs to tap it out, though. He's just fallen on the football. The umpire lets it go. Swan digs it out. Martin will just hack it clear, but it might come back. Hutchings to Brown, and loads up from 51. Will it carry the trip? Martin right on the line where the ruckman should be. Takes a very strong mark.
Yeah, showing his worth there, Tim Martin. Hand passes to Sweet. Takes a bounce. This time there's a bit more talking. Sweet looks downfield to centre wing, kicks to a contest. But Pryor is very good when he gets to the front of a contest. Took the mark. Squaring ball to Roberton. He's looked across the ground. Nothing on offer. So he's going to have to go back and go for a long ball, which he does. A towering kick over the scoreboard wing. One-on-one down there. Smith dives at the footy and knocks it clear of Pettigrew, but Burns is there giving him support. The veteran, this way and that, turns to his right boot and delivers well to Mark Hutchings, who's again working very hard in this first term.
Still me, mate, still me.
Hutchings short. Then Burl on the end of his pass, switches play to Rasmussen, who's almost at full back. Goes with a pass down towards centre half back. Stephen Brown getting into the contest now. Dribbles the ball cleverly off the left boot to Salikas, who's having a great first quarter. Looping hand pass out in front of Rasmussen. Doesn't have to break stride. Goes with a long kick up towards the half forward line. Not well directed, and getting into the best position there to take the mark is Derricks.
He's bereft of options, though. You can see the confusion on his face. So he goes high to the smallest target there in Moss, getting across and getting a fist in Coonan. Well read by Van Berlo. Hands it off to Black, who his kick was affected by a good chase from Oakley Nichols. It's just fell into the hands of Fowler, who tumbles a kick inside the 50. Now Robertson's got two to beat here. He's under pressure. He did brilliantly to get the hand pass over the top to McCauley, but it just bounced away from him. Well done, Fowler. Heard Black, the voice running past. He hooks it back towards the top of the square, and a very brave mark taken by Swan, the most experienced Royal out there, doing a brilliant job to rebound.
Sometimes there just comes a time when you've got to have a shot at goal, and maybe that was the better option on that occasion for Black. Here's Paul Johnson, plays onto the left boot. The ball goes over the back. Eads loves it when it does that. Trips, fumbles, has time to get back and make good his mistake. Now a long high kick. Down there is Pryor, and he's taken the mark. I said it a moment ago, he's got terrific hands on him, has Adam Pryor, and when he gets to the front of the contest, he's very hard to spoil, as Dion Flay found out.
And when someone's got a man, Martin in the ruck, Johnson at centre half forward, Smith at full forward, and Pryor becomes the fourth, it's a really exciting, with Eads running around the bottom, really exciting forward line.
You're going to have to think that they're going to take some beating as this season goes on. Pryor now, his strong suit is not his kicking, Brad.
No, Alex has already got one put out against his name. I think I'll take that one.
I mean, that was a poor kick. Lacked any sort of penetration, let alone direction. Certainly a good mark, but a real let off there for West Perth.
Funny thing is, though, he did kick 20 goals, 5 behinds in 13 matches last year. So that's a pretty good conversion rate.
Yeah, but how many out
across the competition? Well, I didn't keep number of those. So Pettigrew kicks in. Pryor drops a mark he perhaps should have taken, and the kick from Crozier is smothered out of bounds. So a throw in the shadows of quarter time as Kim Monteith warms up in the shadows down on the interchange gate. Johnson and Coonan. Coonan's been keen to sit off the big man and get a run at it. Johnson won that one down. Moss suddenly found himself in space. Off his non-preferred, hooks it back to a dangerous spot. How will the bounce favour Smith? Well, he just, with brute strength, gets through a couple, snaps on goal and kicks his second. Well, that was imposing from Josh Smith.
We spoke about his mobility when he kicked his first goal. Well, it was on show again then. And I'm sure we'll get a replay of it in a minute, but he is looming as the match winner, and probably time at quarter time for Bill Monaghan and his match committee to have a look at another option, I think.
Geez, when you've got a man of that size and his agility there, threw the ball magnificently onto the boot to snap the goal. You don't have that many options, Brad, do you? I mean, you've just got to implore Pettigrew, I think, is the man who's started on him, just to tighten up. And now it's is that still Pettigrew? I think it is.
Yep.
So the options when a man's that big aren't great, but he just hits contests with such vigour and strength. There's the bounce. Coonan unopposed won the tap, and then carelessly Clutterbuck getting into the back of Mark Hutchings. Hutchings from the middle, a real floater, didn't really get onto it, but it fell nicely for Black. Now Black wants to play on, chops a tackle, kicks the ball across the ground, looking there for Saylor. Well, he was certainly outmanned. He beat a couple in the air, then on the ground, and then he kicks from 20 metres out and kicks truly. Well, hardly any reaction there from the crowd, but Saylor, who was under pressure when the ball was delivered to him, just did extremely well. Kept his feet, Brad, which was probably the key to it, and then in the end ran away from them and made it look all too easy.
Absolutely is the key. Stayed on his feet, and as we see here, settled and got it through the big sticks. But it's an interesting kick by Aaron Black. Interesting position from where he was, but a goal's a goal, and well done to Anton Saylor. A desperate one that they needed, West Perth, just on quarter time.
So their fourth goal, the Falcons, and it's the fourth time they've answered an East Perth goal within less than 120 seconds. So back in the middle, Johnson won the tap. Saylor, the goal kicker, was slung to the ground. Clutterbuck squeezed the kick towards half forward. Now Crozier and Manning come across, and Rasmussen was trying to provide the shepherd, but it was Moss who brought down Manning holding the ball. Great tackle. He's such a dangerous user, and that's a great kick out in front of Pryor. Oh, he couldn't quite hang on. Monteith was right there in the right spot. Gave it to Grover. Touch ball, play on is the call. Numbers with the Falcons. Saylor deep in defence has some time. He's aided by a shepherd from Burns, but he hasn't got a lot of options upfield, so now he's cornered, and thankfully the siren sounds to get him out of trouble and end a term which was pretty much dominated by East Perth, but they only lead by 14 points. 6-3-39. They lead the Falcons 4-1-25 at the first change.
Yes, well, a 14-point margin to the Royals at quarter time after going inside their 50-metre arc 8 more times than the Falcons in that first quarter. And Brad, we mentioned that they kicked a few goals against the run of play. They kicked accurately, 4 goals won, and they've just made the most of their opportunities to be hanging in there at the moment.
They have, and that's the positive that Bill Monaghan will be taking out of it, that they haven't let this game slip. It could be, a little bit more than that if they had have taken a bit more chance, East Perth. But West Perth, to their credit, yes, every time, as Alex said during the call, every time they sort of kicked one, they managed to get one back within 120 seconds, 2 minutes, centre bounce, take it down. We saw the Saylor goal just on quarter time there. So they're still in the contest. However, they've got a lot of work to do.
What's making it hard is those talls for East Perth, who are a real problem at the moment. But let's go first of all to the goal scorers in the first quarter, and we can see that Josh Smith did a lot of damage down there with a couple of goals. Eads was very clever, very opportunistic, as was Crozier. Just some flashes of brilliance down there. They've kicked 6 between them, and for the Falcons it's all singles. Rice, Salikas, Fowler and Saylor, one apiece. And for East Perth, well, Smith 6 straight kicks, 3 marks, 2 goals, 1. He really is a tower of strength. McCauley a little untidy on occasions, but battling hard in defence, as is Robertson. He's taken 4 marks in that quarter. 1 or 2 were kicked straight to him. Pryor 3 marks, should have taken 4. Moss has been good. Some of his tackling work was outstanding. Crozier we've mentioned. Payne was very good, particularly early, as was Wolf. And we go then to West Perth. Van Berlo with 9 possessions, 4 marks. Didn't notice him all that much. Not a lot came of his work. Salikas was one of their best. Again, one of the features of his play was his tackling. Flay in defence. Hutchings busy as ever. Pettigrew, well, he's got his hands full with Smith, but he's getting his hands on the footy. Brown came into the game late in the piece with 5 possessions. Rasmussen toiled away hard, as did Black. So you throw it all together and not a lot of difference. The handballs are exactly even. So possessions pretty even, Brad, but it's just what the Royals are doing with the footy and into whose hands they are getting the ball at crucial times.
That's right. The inside 50s there, as we see 18 to 10. It's a lot of pressure onto the West Perth defence. Still only round 3, still finding their feet a little bit. It's going to get harder and harder if those numbers continue.
Well, the Royals are finding the right formula at the moment. Let's find out how as we go into their huddle.
All right, so is everyone on the same page with that? Because that's an area that there are a couple of, and that's the other thing, there are a couple of clearances on us in the CBDs with 10-8, in general, across the board, 10-8, all right, but in the middle we're 4-6.
Well, David Hines there spending time with the East Perth group as we go to Todd Ridley. He's only a few metres away.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. Look, they're very buoyant in the East Perth huddle, as you'd imagine. They've come out firing. East Perth love playing against the West Perth team, and Tony McCall was very happy with the team in that quarter. They're tackling pressure and all the pressure acts. They outnumbered West Perth, getting to the ball in numbers and getting into the ball first, and Tony's just asked them to continue on in this second quarter.
OK, well, he might, because it's been working for them. Here's Josh Smith. Did a lot of damage himself, but have a look at this mark. One of the real highlights of the quarter, and that camera shot just captures it perfectly from side on. The West Perth players there didn't really know what hit them. Only 4 possessions, but 2 goals resulting from it. And he is just a player of absolute quality. Monteith gets the ball to Macaulay, and we see Crozier come into it again here. Brad, it's just an art to be able to read the ball off hands like that.
It is, and we saw it a couple of times. Crozier once and Eads a second time. Beautiful skills. Left footers, something about them, but they just seem to have beautiful skills, and Fremantle will be looking to him to steam off half-back and steam off the wing at Patterson Stadium over the next 8 to 10 years.
Yeah, that was rubbing salt into the wound, wasn't it? Jordan Jones stubbing his toe, and the ball just dribbling to Crozier. Man, they didn't want to be even near it. And Tony McHale would be very happy. He would have been buoyed by the strong finish of his players last week. They just got a little bit too far out of their ground, to use a racing parlance, I suppose. Brad, they were 5 goals behind Claremont. That was, well, I thought it was going to be way too much, but as it turned out, there was only a kick in it in the end. So to come into a match like that is terrific. Well, let's, ahead of your comments, look at the Colts match. There have been some terrific Colts matches we've been exposed to so far this year in the first 3 rounds. East Perth again getting over the line just by 4 points, 13-10 to 12-12. And so far it's a clean sweep for the Royals, because they did it comfortably in the reserves, 16-602 to West Perth 10-4-64.
It's really good to see the East Perth Colts 2-0. Long time since they've been...
still there? Michael Braun still coaching them?
No, I don't think Brawny is, but it's really good to see them 2-0. On the positive, it's a long time since they have been up and about. The East Perth Colts got some great talent coming through. Knocked off Claremont last week, and good signs for East Perth supporters with some talent coming through their junior ranks.
Yes, indeed. Clinton Ernst, the coach of the Colts. So a pretty reasonable crowd in here this afternoon. Perth derbies have had a knack of getting crowds through the turnstiles for years. I can remember, Brad, as a kid coming along here when it was the Falcons' home ground, the Cardinals as they were known then, and there'd be 25,000 people in here. It was just quite amazing.
Old school hill, wasn't it?
Yes.
As I remember.
Yep, the old bank. It's been eaten into over the years, but I reckon that that couple there would have seen their fair share of Perth derbies over the year.
I think so. And then I speak to Todd Curley, who's a mad West Perth, obviously a great tradition there, but the last ever game here for West Perth, I think they got something like 28,000.
Correct.
Maybe correct me on that amount. But
I was here that day. They played Subiaco and their other cross-town rivals, if you like, and it was a magnificent turn-up. They had a lot of former West Perth and Subiaco players as well, just to add to that occasion. So you can see the East Perth players dispersing, but Bill Monahan just imploring his players to, I don't know, it's not really a matter of discipline, it's just at times they're being outplayed or caught out of position. There's Brent Lacroix, who's being sadly missed.
Just the simple things. I think we touched on it during the quarter. Simple things, just do them well. You know, hit the 2-3 metre handball, hit that kick under no pressure for Jones and Pettigrew. Doesn't cost you a goal. But at the other end, they stole one, which was good from Macaulay. But I think that'd be his message, that just do the simple things well. We're still in the contest. We've got some really good players out there.
Let's go to Todd Ridley with Bill Monahan.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. Bill, a few skill errors cost you earlier, but you really managed to get back into the game, didn't you?
We did. It's tough when you're coming out of your defensive 50 with no pressure, and we coughed up 2 or 3 really bad ones, and they hurt us going back the other way. And, you know, Petters is an experienced player, and his player ends up kicking a goal. That's one of the main things I said to him at quarter time. If we can get our ball use right, then we'd be able to open them up through the middle of the ground.
I was going to mention Josh Smith. He kicked 2 goals earlier. Do you restructure and look at a Dan Hunt, or do you stick with Michael Pettigrew?
Oh, look, we've probably got another 5 or 6 minutes in it. We've got to back Petters in. But Dan Hunt is there as a backup option as well.
Thanks, Billy. Cheers. Back to you, Phil.
Yeah, well, there they are. There's Derricks and Fowler. So Derricks has got the job on the new recruit for West Perth, and the other matchup of importance is Dion Flo, who's had the better probably of Adam Pryor at this stage, though Pryor missed what should have been a certain goal. Oakley Nichols being picked up by Manning, second quarter underway.
So the Royals lead it by 14 points, and they're going to the city end here in the second term, and no one is coming away from that Swan and Wolf sandwich. Van Berlo had 9 possessions in the opening term.
Unassuming, but good accumulator of the footy.
So one-on-ones again, a lot of men around the ball. Martin palmed it down. Again, Van Berlo puts his head over it, trying to win a free kick. You can hear the umpire say knock it out. No one's willing to.
Just early in the second quarter at Eastmantle Oval, Alex Eastmantle have got off to a good start, 4-4, leading Clermont 3-3.
They would have been jumping out of their skin, having to wait so long to get their first game in the regular season. Here's Swan, got a hand pass clear. And Grover drew 2 men and gave it to the running Robertson. Off the left, into the pocket. Johnson had to sweat back on Hunt, who climbed over the top. Didn't get a big piece of it. Well done, Johnson. Got to his feet as he kicked the goal. No, it never bent back enough. Just floated across the face. But that was very skillful from the big man.
Trying to do an impersonation of Buddy Franklin then.
Eyes up, guys.
Would have been some goal.
Don't block out.
Michael Swan kicked one of the goals of the season in this corresponding match in round 22 last year from the opposite pocket up at Arena. Now, was that a throw? It was. According to the umpire, Eads the man who has given away the free kick, and it'll go to Dustin Burns.
Yeah, umpire Keating was perfectly positioned to see that one as Burns goes short into the pocket. Flay going down the outer side of the ground. It gets a good lead from Manning, and it was a good kick, beautifully weighted. Manning now wants to get on with it quickly, kicks it past the scoreboard, pitches in front of Hutchings, close to the boundary line, but he's got a good run at it, Hutchings. He can hand pass over the top to Salisic. He's been very quiet. He has time to slip over and get up, Hutchings, if you don't mind. Then the centering kick. Plenty of East Perth players up. Saylor stayed down, got the footy, now releases it by hand, but a good tackle by White. And the West Perth player in Alessio had nowhere to go. Andrew Strike sitting out with injury. That's unfortunate for West Perth when you consider the likes of Strike and Lacroix on the sidelines. They could well do with them. Martin wins the tap. Getting there first is Van Berlo. Keeps the ball in front of him, but just can't get a firm purchase on it. Now Wolf gets a purchase on him. Zanetti goes, well, that was a throw from Van Berlo. The umpire saw that one as well. So good work by the umpies as Wolf will take the free kick out of left fullback, I should say.
Such a good player. Craig Wolf just continues to rack them up. So consistent year in, year out. He's sweet. Change of number this season. Not helping the commentators, but I doubt they're at the forefront of his mind. It's out of play. We'll have a throw in.
29 years of age, Craig Wolf, Alex. He has been a great servant of the club, hasn't he? Playing game number 184.
Yeah, best and fairest in 2010, but he's always up there in the best and fairest for the Royals. Martin will get 2 fists of this ball straight down to the front, which might not have been the option. They're holding it up.
More than once I've had him as my dark horse for the Sandover medal. I'm dropping off him this year. He's never come through.
I think he might have a big bloke at centre forward, full forward, that might pinch a few votes this year.
Without a shadow of a doubt. The bloke in the sandwich there might pinch some votes too. Moss, it came out to Grover and then to Swan, who kicks towards the wing, but Brown intercepting. And he's another one who ran well in last year's BNF for the Falcons. A very, very impressive player. Coming back from Carlton, sends it high inside the 50. Martin floating back. It was trapped beneath the feet of Sweet, who fell on it with a number of players, and it'll be bounced. Not a lot of clean chains of possession here, Brad, to start the second term.
It seems as though one of the teams have gone with a bit more man-on-man early on in this contest, and I assume it would be West Perth.
Play on.
Yep, Moss, an unlikely ruckman, but he palmed it down, and Robertson took it, just quickly delivered it toward the boundary line with a dribble kick off the right boot, and the umpire has interpreted that as being deliberate. I think he might be right. Bartholomew just below the ice cream van, which is getting a little bit of business. Kicks from about 80 metres out. Big, long, high kick up toward full forward. Some big men up there as well. Saylor roved it cleverly. Then it was almost stolen from him by Dobson. He hand passes. Anderson looks downfield, goes looking there for Smith. Might have got nudged under it by Pettigrew. The umpire says play on. He's a long way from home, Smith. Monteith's hand pass eventually ended up with Wolf. Back to Monteith. Bumped as he kicked. Goes very, very high. Didn't go very far. Oakley Nichols wanted the mark. None forthcoming. And Pettigrew claims him. The umpire will come in and rightly bounce it. So no addition to the quarter-time score. Now 5 minutes gone in this quarter. Bounce down. Martin. Got it down to Moss. Moss was held without it, was the call. It looked as though he got a push in the back, but either way, it's a free kick to Moss. Very, very short and low pass. Robertson on his knees and elbows to take that mark. Now Robertson going the short option, returning the favour to Gary Moss. So East Perth just content at the moment to retain possession and wait for something to open for them. A good option there comes from Robertson. So Robertson and Moss combining nicely.
Stabbing each other up.
Yep.
Just getting their numbers up.
I think that Robertson won't be spending a lot of time out of the Dockers lineup this year. He's in pretty good form last week and this week. Plays on, gets good distance and depth with the kick. The ball off hands taken by Flay. Flay stabs a pass through traffic, finds Hutchings. He was met by Clutterbuck, no mark. In goes Rasmussen, tigerishly. Now he loses the footy. In goes Oakley Nichols, hand pass to Clutterbuck. Knocked away from him by Hutchings. Wolf close to the boundary line. Has it on collision course with Jordan Jones. And there will be a boundary throw in right half forward for the Royals.
I don't think Bill Monaghan would be too upset with this start to the second quarter.
No.
You know, just hard and one-on-one. Keep the scoreboard as is.
Coonan and Martin. Coonan got to the front, won it down. Here's Hutchings coming through, controlling it well. Awkward looking kick, but it was very effective. Well done, Salikas, who's been excellent so far in the opening half. He goes to Bartholomew. The kick was brilliant, and Bartholomew can wind up from 55 at a vacant square and kick the opener of the second term. The Falcons are coming. Bartholomew gets his first. The margin's back to 8 points.
Really good finish. Now, Brad.
Yeah, really good finish. I was about to say about a couple of minutes ago we needed a little bit more from Bartholomew's, but this is the man that I'd love to see him push up into the midfield. He's been great across half forward. He's shown energy from the first bounce of the day, and that's a great finish from just on 50. Yeah. Open goal square and a little bit of something for his teammates. He's traditionally a bit of an antagonist, gets up a few skins of the opposition, but it's what we need to see more from.
Yeah, great team goal, Bartholomew.
Watching 4-4.
So back in the middle of the ground, umpire Keating to bounce it down. Bit of a crooked one. The umpire says play on initially, but then he calls it back. The ball did travel outside the circle, so he'll throw it up.
He's going to make it. All right, here we go.
So Martin and Coonan to do battle again. Coonan wins it. Down to Jordan Jones, taken into tackle, but releases a handball. Swan ran hard at the footy. Spills there for Martin. Needs to get the ball out. Now the players arrive in numbers, and this could be penalised here. The ball still under the bodies there. The umpire had a good look at it and decides in the end to go for a ball up between the front of the centre square and the 50-metre arc, going the Falcons' way.
The umpires have been happy to let those go. Try and see if the ball can come out of its own accord. Neither ruckman touched it. I don't know that the ruckman really got near it, actually. They might have been held out of it by the number of on-ballers that are around this contest at centre forward for the Falcons.
Hey, 20.
Man on man just about all over the ground, apart from just sweating off the back of the umpire here. Bartholomew and Clutterbuck giving each other a little bit of space defensively, and it might come Bartholomew's way, although Salisic looked the other direction. Got it to Maskoulis off the left. That's a good kick. He's a lovely user, the youngster on West Coast rookie list, and he's found Cunin. Now, there are a lot of bodies inside 50 here. He's too far out to score, you'd reckon. He's asked to play on, so he can't get a run at it. Swan approaches him. Cunin to Salisic, who just winds up in hope. Who can get a fly? Salikas went early. Zanetti came from the back and crunched the pack. Couldn't hang on to it. Saylor tries to push off McCauley. Does so successfully. Off the non-preferred. Hits the post. Well, he created something out of nothing, but couldn't finish with a goal. Margin back to 7 points.
He's pretty lively down there, Saylor, as the ball's kicked back into play, and it's landed with McCauley. As you see the fly there from Zanetti.
Gee whiz, he got both hands to it. He almost could have marked it on his chest.
Well, I think that was the intention, but yeah, not forthcoming. Charters upended as he kicked, but it lands with Monteith. Slightly centering ball has Craig Wolf at full stretch, reels it in. Now hand passes to White, a little bit slow, maybe not enough talking. White off balance as he kicked, went there to Manning, he was dispossessed. Now Clutterbuck swoops on it, just behind the centre, kicks the ball out of the centre square. Oh, good mark taken down there by Pryor.
Great play by Robertson just to hold his player out and let him have a run at the footy.
Pryor finds an unattended Payne from the 50-metre paint. He goes long on goal, it comes back, but just not enough. Now, in a trice, Claremont have skipped away from East Fremantle Oval. They're a bit ahead of us 14 minutes into the second quarter down there, 7-4 to 4-4.
Burns went to himself and ran it out of defence with the aid of Black, who's hit Bartholomew. He's starting to get busy here in this second term after Brad Wirra called for him to get involved. He kicks the half forward. Salisic flew, the unlikely flyer, and at the back, the unlikely Rover and Johnson kicks to the safety of the boundary line, but Sweet is out there. And he's got options up the line. Robinson's been working really hard today. Got it on the half volley. In fact, that might have been Crozier, who hooks it towards the 50, and Smith takes a good grab. It was Crozier who kicked that ball to Smith. He goes short for Eads. Burns right there with him, forcing the spoil. Manning got his hands clear. Pettigrew. Burns, Pettigrew just racking up the stats, but not going anywhere. He goes dangerously across goal, but all the numbers here with the Falcons. Tedesco has got Rice on down the line. Not a lot of options further ahead, so he goes short and finds Hunt.
Yeah, EPerth zone is working pretty well here, Alex. Hunt goes down the corridor. He's able to spot Alessio. That was a good result for West Perth. They may get out of it here. They do. Alessio's got a man in the middle of the ground. Van Berlo playing well, freewheeling. So too this man, Saylor, with a lot of space at right half forward. That's the way the pass goes. Look at his pace. 2 bounces, runs to 30 metres, kicks on goal and has missed. Well, that is a goal they should have got. That would have really stung EPerth. At the other end of the ground, the Royals had them corralled pretty much inside their defensive 50, but Saylor really should have found the major opening with that one.
So White goes long with the kick in. It clears Robertson at the back. Tedesco turns his opponent inside out. Here's Alessio just pushing off and handing towards centre half forward, but no one was home. McCauley, the Charters, didn't show any signs of panic. Got it to Grover. Steady kick for Payne. And now they can work it down the broadcast side through White and then Johnson, who won his left side, and Cunin should have known that as a left footer. Johnson got back to his left and hit Smith on the chest. He needs to get up. He's got some space inside 50 to work with as numbers flood back. He's just going to place it to the pocket, looking for Eads, and he finds it. This might be right on Eads' range. He kicked 2 goals in the opening term, just bobbing up at the right place at the right time. But this would be a tough set shot.
Really good kick from Smith. 2 speedsters. Burns isn't slow, but needed to be lace out and was. Really good mark in front of his eyes.
This is arguably the toughest kick on this ground, given the bruise comes from the right here of Brett Eads. We saw the shot from Payne move right to left. This is a pretty good looking effort. He holds it up and threads it through. Eads has 3. And the margin's back to 13 points.
He has his 3rd, and as we see Dustin Burns come off the ground just down in front of us. Traditionally, that's probably it, Lammy, isn't it? With in the coach's box, if you have 3 kicked on you from a back pocket or /forward pocket,
I wouldn't know.
It's time to, trust me, I had plenty kicked on me. Time for a change, but he's been impressive. Alex, you called it. Couple of traditional small forward goals, front and centre, hit the contest with speed, and that one just a run, lead, mark, and a beautiful finish from a very, very difficult spot on the ground.
Yeah, top quality football in the first of 3 Perth derbies for this season.
And Sorry, Phil, Steve Brown has gone down, so one of their more creative players down in the back pocket's not good, but that's probably the option they need at this stage.
Yep, they've got to stop the bleeding. Johnson puts a fist into it, then chases it, but beaten to the ball by Flay. He just chip passes out to Black, who's run hard for him out towards the boundary line. So Aaron Black will go back for his kick at Brown Stadium. Perth and Peel doing battle, and 19 minutes into the second quarter there, it's Perth by 22 points. Black kicks to a contest. Looked like Salikas was pushed in the back. Umpire says play on Van Berlo. Confronted head on by Monteith, and there was high contact. So Van Berlo plays on. Goes for the centering ball. In front was Salikas, knocked away from him by Dobson. Johnson couldn't reel it in. Robertson can because he's in such rare form. Now he runs out of room, backtracks. Zanetti confronts him, but then also easily Robertson just gets around him, straightens up, good-looking kick. The ball knocked away, however, from Crozier by Manning. And a good contest with two young players going hard at it there. So 14, nearly 15 minutes into the term, it is East Perth by 13 points.
No blocks, no holds.
It's been a very entertaining second term. Man-on-man footy. Neither side really willing to give an inch. Quick kick out of traffic to Moss, and Monteith was sitting off the pack and in the right place at the right time. He went short to Crozier, who kept his feet. Manning didn't. Back to Monteith, who had to wait for it. Manning never gave up and ran him down. Well, that's great defending.
You wonder why Crozier gave it off in the first place.
It was a left footer. Could have hooked in beautifully.
Caught out a couple of times there, Manning. Last year's reserves best and fairest I mentioned earlier, but a real nod to his courage there to stay in the contest and keep working hard. Now, there was no free kick to the East Perth player who wanted it. Off hands, Jones spreads the hand pass wide. Zanetti sidestep Clutterbuck with ease, and then he's just going to stab it short, looking for Fowler. McCauley got a look in and got a fist on it. Clutterbuck front and square, aided by Shepherd from Swan. Now Sweet took all the time he had and just squeezed a kick out. Numbers with the Falcons here, and it'll come right back from whence it came. Jones, short, Alessio to Fowler, ran into trouble and gave it straight up. Well done, Anderson. And Clutterbuck will bring it away, although it's coming back. Well, that's a little unlucky.
That is a huge let off. That was not great play by West Perth there.
Is that in the back?
Bit contentious.
Tough call. So Fowler's already kicked one. This is a long, long way out. He got underneath the one in the opening term, kicking into whatever slight breeze there is. This from 55 is going to come up well short. Johnson flew and fists it out of play. It'll be a throw in alongside the behind post.
So still 13 points the margin.
Let him run, don't block.
Burns straight back on the ground after a chat with the coach and straight back onto Eads.
Yep, he's conceded 3 goals, has the veteran. Now Zanetti gets front berth, paddles the ball to the boundary line, swerving on it with Van Berlo. What a snapshot! That's going to be the goal of the point of the day. It'll be touched, was it? Wow. He thought he had it. He started to celebrate. I was watching Van Berlo, but it was touched off the boot. So
Field umpire called that touch as soon as he kicked it, Phil. Good decision.
The kick from McCauley. He has made some disposal errors. There's no doubt about that. The coach wouldn't be too happy. He was under no pressure, and he's kicked the ball out of bounds on the full. So Tedesco indicates he's going to kick long. They need some big flyers down there. There goes one of them in Alessio. Now the ball comes off hands, taken down there by Swan, I think it may have been. It was Michael Swan, and that's the explanation from the umpire. No prior opportunity. See Swan there, just put his head down. Sometimes you see that paid high. Not on this occasion. Johnson wins the tap, blew it down straight at his own bootlaces, and that was high for the umpire. So Moss will take a free kick. A few boos there from the West Perth supporters. Moss having a good look. He's told to play on by the umpire. Moss's kick lacks a bit of depth, but fortunately had just enough carry to find the ample chest of Josh Smith. He's playing with a lot of energy, covering enormous ground, Brad, isn't he?
Looks a lot fitter than has been in previous years.
Charters, another one of their talls. Short to Payne, who's one of their shorts. But busy to Charters. who's run upfield and created. Now some distance with the kick from Danny Charters. Just up over centre wing. Sweet flew but couldn't take the mark. Here's Grover, immediately claimed and dispossessed. The umpire says holding the ball. I thought it was more jolted out from him now. Coonan wanted to play on with advantage, but the umpire says it's got to come back and it'll be taken by the man who effected the tackle in Dan Hunt. Umpires Keating, O'Neill and Brown officiating this afternoon. So it's come all the way back to Dan Hunt. 19 minutes have just ticked over. Really good game of footy. Hunt goes short to the indefatigable Bartholomew. Plays on, drives the ball up toward the half-forward line, looking there for Rice. The ball comes to the ground. This time Macaulay uses the hand pass effectively to Crozier. His hand pass effective to the running Payne. Long kick Payne to a 2-on-1 over the top of Eads' head. Now the bounce of the ball favours Pryor. Pryor tackled by Flay, slung out of it. The crowd, the EPerth crowd, went holding the ball. They are ropeable. Away goes Burns after a stinging discussion with Bill Monaghan. Finds a big man out there in Coonan. Coonan this way and that, trapped on his right boot, kicks it high into the pocket. Don't know if that was more by luck or design, but it has found Mark Hutchings.
Behind the play, Brett Eads is down while he's up now, but he got a nasty knock on that knee in that last tackle.
Hutchings not the first player to stub his toe this afternoon, so getting it from Swan was Wolf, then over to Johnson, back to Wolf. So Wolf, he'll run all day, takes a bounce, steadies, again kicking to a 2-on-1. Roberton has been moved forward and over the top of him. Tedesco knocks the ball safely over the line and out of bounds. So Tony McHale just with his entourage there. Graham Pollack at his back offering advice.
Just off screen, we haven't yet caught it with our cameras, but Eads has been carried off by the runner and the trainer. Back to the action.
It's one of those ones, Alex, where he went for the ball and the players come in and taken the side of his knee. Could possibly be a cartilage injury. I'll let you know what's going on there.
Hopefully he's okay. He's already kicked 3 goals. Here's Salisic, 4 by hand of Jones in his 50th WAFL appearance. He makes Johnson look like a witch's hat. A bounce, although Johnson never gave up. Great chase affecting the kick and affecting the turnover. Wolf to Sweet, Grover, and then White goes wide to Martin. Well done, Johnson. Wonderful chase by the big man.
You're trying to make up now, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I gave him a sledge and he came up with the goods. Great hand pass forward by Swan to Crozier, who's racing towards the 50. 2 bounces. He'll go short to Roberton and he takes the mark in the pocket. Can settle over a set shot here. It's been a real arm wrestle this second term. Just 1 goal each. 12 points the difference. No one's really been able to have a clean run of possession, Brad.
No, and then take it onto the scoreboard, I suppose, more to the point. Roberton was going nowhere but having a shot when he took this mark inside 35, as most defenders do.
He's only kicked 1 goal, 3 in his 14-game career, and he won't add to that total on either column because he's hooked it out of bounds on the 4th.
Well, he's a much better kick than that. You see Brett Eads there with Dawes, David Dawes, former player for EPerth, now the club physio, working on what looks to be the ankle. Well, you see it here. Oh, yeah. Looks as though he's working more on the ankle there, but well, could be knee as EPerth bring the ball out of defence. Coonan gets around a much smaller player in Payne. Did it well. Very agile, Chris Coonan. Delivery was good too. Finds Saylor inside the centre square, but right at the front edge of it. Long kick from behind Fowler. He has got some ability. He had the sit, but did it perfectly. Timed his leap. Has taken the mark 12 metres out, directly in front, and this will be a certain goal. Great camera work capturing the action as well.
It's a really nice kick, wasn't it? And Saylor's been impressive.
Yes.
Had 2 forward pockets from either side, be super impressive in their role. But too much latitude for him, and he really kicked it to advantage.
Fowler comes in, just ambles in a couple of steps, brings up his 2nd goal. So EPerth just edging ever so much closer. Now just 1 goal the difference, and this game's got a lot in it, Brad.
It has, and we sort of went to quarter time thinking that EPerth were certainly the better side. And great work by the big fella here, the big ruckman Coonan. And as I said, Saylor, just too much latitude for him. He's a really influential player, and what I liked about it is how quickly he got on with the job. Great camera work and a great grab there, but kick to advantage, so important in this day and age.
I'll tell you who's the better side at Brown Stadium. Perth are now 6 goals clear of Peel Thunder.
It's a decisive break. And Fowler kicks his second on debut for the Falcons, coming across from Queensland. First multiple goal kicker for West Perth today. Been impressive. Now Moss got a push in the back. The Falcons wanted holding the ball because he was over it and not really making any attempt to get rid of it. But now he's onto that dangerous left boot, and this is a penetrating ball inside the 50, but floating across and taking a good mark is the experienced Pettigrew. And he comes broadcast side. Van Berlo continues to rack them up, finds a lot of space, just knows where to run. Here's Black to Coonan, and Black will receive again, and he's got Rasmussen on the broadcast side, can set it high. This will be a task here for Rice against the taller Charters, who got the fist in. The ball sits nicely for Payne to Macaulay, who showed a steady head and found Wolf. Now he's got Clutterbuck on short, and the next option is Robertson, who's finding a lot of space. Clutterbuck calls for him to move up and really directed him with a kick. He's a good player, Freddie Clutterbuck. Here's Robertson, also a good player, finding a lot of the ball. Goes to Pry, who was strong but couldn't hang on, and Flay, never out of the contest, worked hard to get back in it. Well done, Brown. Got it to Manning, then to Burns, who didn't panic. Now there's a whistle off the play from the non-controlling umpire, and it's a free kick to Flay. A bit of wrestling between Pryor and Flay, and Flay's got the better of it.
Yeah, I was watching that one, and Flay was actually holding Pryor, wouldn't let him leave, and Pryor's just giving him one. The umpire saw it.
Yeah, well, you don't do that right in front of the umpire, Todd. I know that was always your motto. Ball goes up towards centre wing. Swan, tenacious, gets the hand pass to Martin. Now to Clutterbuck. Short from Clutterbuck. Crozier all on his own at half forward. The left footer stylishly in toward full forward. Smith had the ball clear his head. Burns taking the great tackle there. Play on is the call. Oh, Hunt, that's an illegal disposal. Great tackle, will be rewarded. And Oakley Nichols the recipient. 50 metres, well, it probably wouldn't have matched, won't matter, would have been a goal anyway, but Oakley Nichols now will be gifted a free hit, and he'll kick it into Vincent Street.
And Phil, Brett Eads has had his ankle strapped up. Dave Dawes said it's definitely not the knee, lower leg. He may possibly come back on. We'll probably get more know after half-time.
OK, thanks, Todd, as Oakley Nichols spares the footy and just kicks it into the net behind the goals. So there is, he looks a little bit proppy, but there may be hope for him.
He had a big smile on his face when I had a big chat to him, so he's pretty happy with himself so far, and he's confident he'll come back on, but it didn't look too good.
He would have been just happy talking to the great Todd Ridley.
He would have been, but he'd like to turn 3 into 5 and 5 into 7, I reckon. And as we see here, just really good pressure by Jared Oakley Nichols and East Perth forward line as a whole. They lost the free kick with the Flay incident first hand, but it was great pressure by their forwards as a forward 6, and then pressure again. Jared Oakley Nichols, the recipient of the free kick for holding the ball.
Third of the year, 29th in his WAFL career. He made his debut before he got drafted in an East Perth West Perth derby for the Royals back in 2005. Back in the middle, no one can get clear again. It's Moss at the bottom of the pack. He's been playing more defensive half today, which is unusual, Brad.
It is.
Little leaguers are ready to come on and play at half time. Pretty eager.
They are champing at the bit. Love to get out there. It's always a big stage for the youngsters. Now a free kick going the way of Jordan Jones. He was taken high.
No, you got him on your way through.
Just his third match in the Falcons. Guernsey, having moved from Peel. It's been delisted by West Coast. He goes long inside the 50. Anderson climbed. The fist came back behind him off a shin, but it fell to Wolf, who goes wide for Sweet, who showed real strength to get away from Rice. Clever little kick off the outside of the right. Didn't go the 15, but everyone presumed it did. So Swan had time to get back, although the hand pass was a little astray there from the Royals, and that opens the door for Hutchings, who's looking for Salisic, and diving in there was Black. Can he burrow his way through? He takes on another. He gets caught this time by Dobson, and the umpire says holding the ball.
Such a harsh rule, but that's the rule. He was the only one actually making any contest at the footy.
Come right out, right out. Thank you.
And Wolf's come up with a free kick. He was the third man on the pile, and he's the one going to get the stat here.
Well, the replay shows it was pretty hard to get that ball out of there.
Yeah.
And that's the siren. So a real arm wrestle here in that second term. It went 28 minutes, just 2 goals apiece, and the margin is 2 straight kicks at the long change. 8-4-52 the Royals lead West Perth 6-4-40 in a willing Perth derby at Leederville. Awkward looking kick, but it was very effective Well done, Salikas, who's been excellent so far in the opening half. He goes to Bartholomew. The kick was brilliant, and Bartholomew can wind up from 55 at a vacant square and kick the opener of the second term. Saw the shot from Payne move right to left. This is a pretty good-looking effort. He holds it up and threads it through.
He finds Sailor inside the centre square, but right at the front edge of it. Long kick from behind Fowler. He has got some ability.
Here's some great highlights, some great goals in this first half of footy, and just 2 goals separating the two sides at half-time. The Royals in the lead after they led by 14 points at quarter-time. So terrifically entertaining, Brad. I think we all made the point that Perth derbies, both sides probably lift a little bit, lift the ante a little bit, but it's certainly been evident today. It's been there's been plenty of vigour, it's been played in good spirit, and plenty of highlights to really enthuse about in that first half.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and a great response from West Perth, I thought, because East Perth were the better side in the first quarter, didn't take their chances. West Perth hung in. Bill Monahan spoke to Todd Ridley at quarter time about doing some simple things well, taking their chances with their skill execution. They did that. They went one-on-one for about the first 5-7 minutes of that quarter, which I thought held them in really good stead. They got back to some basics and took their chances. Some of their senior players in Bartholomew and the like actually took charge, and they're right in this game.
Yeah, Alex has used the phrase a couple of times that it's a real arm wrestle. You just get the feeling that up forward, West Perth haven't quite got the options that East Perth have got. They're going to have to work pretty hard for their goals, going forward in the second half.
Yeah, without doubt. Yeah. Josh Smith was well held, though, in that quarter, second term after he was a real presence in the opening term. And obviously, Eads has kicked 3 but went off with that ankle problem. So that might level things up. But as you say, East Perth have a lot more firepower up front, it seems, but West Perth have been winning the battle of the midfield.
Let's have a look at some of the important numbers coming out of that first half of footy. And first of all, the goal kickers, Eads, as Alex said, with 3 goals. He's been a bit of a star down there, making the most of his opportunities. Josh Smith and Crozier with 2 apiece. Oakley Nichols with the final goal of that half for the Falcons. Fowler has 2, and then Rice, Salikas, Bartholomew and Sailor, each with a single. Quarter-by-quarter scores there. It was the Royals by 14 points at quarter-time. Nothing much changed except for a lot of entertainment in the second quarter. It's the Royals now by 2 goals.
Looks okay. Todd will be all over that as Moss gets the first kick of the second half. It didn't travel to 15. Payne got a little hand pass out. Wolf found some space where there was none. His kick was touched, so play on. But Tedesco came away with it. It was a good mark, actually. And he kicks towards half forward. Hutchings flew highest of the 4 who went up. And a high tackle. The umpire pointed the wrong way initially there, which might have caused some confusion for the fans. But Craig Wolf knew he had the free kick. And he's always at the bottom of those packs working so hard. Oh, Clutterbuck put his body on the line. Had Flay coming in the opposite direction and crunched him. But both look okay. Let's go to Todd.
Yes, thanks, Alex. We've got Mascoulis, Manning, Rice and Black all starting on for the Falcons.
Okay, East Fremantle were a point in front of Claremont at quarter-time down at East Fremantle Oval, and now it's the Tigers by 6 goals at half-time. Johnson won the tap cleverly down to Moss too. Got caught, but got a hand pass away. Through comes Smith again like an absolute tractor. Gives the hand pass off to Payne. High kick up toward the goals. It goes the wrong side of the post and to behind. He certainly is a sight to behold when he crashes through the pack as Brown brings the ball quickly into play and finds Mark Hutchings. Now to the lead of Rasmussen. Right at the juncture where the 50-metre line meets the boundary line at right half back for the Falcons. Kicks up towards Salikas, knocked away from him by White. White gets the hand pass now back from Pryor to Wolf. Now it goes to Payne and now back to White. East Perth have worked that out well. Long kick up toward the forward line. Martin puts a fist into it. I think he may have tried to bring the ball down to the front of the pack. It's deflected through for a rush behind.
Good play, good hands by the East Perth boys, close in, tight on the boundary, but he just needed to lower his vision, Clutterbuck. He had a free player, Oakley Nichols, on 35 metres out.
Burns very short to Brown, unsure of his options, wanted to draw a man, instead chips it up the middle and Tedesco can run. He's got nowhere near him. He goes very short, probably not the option. It cleans bowls Zanetti and Anderson, and McCauley hacks it out of Mick. In there, coming the other way. Jones pinned in a good tackle by Moss. It came back to Jones. Now Tedesco to Salisic, takes on Payne and does well. Gets it wide. Oh, he missed his target in Sailor, and Swan might gather here and bounce off Sailor. Send a probing kick deep at the backs. The big fella Martin, well done Hunt, but he lost his footing and Martin awkwardly sockets it through. for the first goal of the second half, and the lead jumps out to 20 points, which has been arguably the biggest of the match for the Royals.
Well, again, we spoke about West Perth. Simple things, simple handball, but we see here Swan, big don't argue on Sailor, looked up, really good kick to advantage to his big ruckman there resting, and great agility again from the big number 24. But a good kick by Swan, using all his experience, get it over the back. And he's pretty happy, the big fella.
Yeah, he was, and it was a good effort for the big man to get it onto his boot. Unfortunately for Dan Hunt, he fell over.
Go the footy.
The umpire urges the players to go the footy. That's been the order of the day so far as Johnson wins the tap. Moss couldn't break clear. Hand pass from Rasmussen, hand pass again from Bartholomew, and certainly legged there was Robertson. Robertson's kick up forward is a disappointing one. Pryor was always behind Flay, so the kick was never to his advantage. It needed to be higher. Flay now goes to Van Berlo, bounce and draws a player, finds a hand pass off to Mascoulis, high kick from the centre of the ground in toward full forward. Macaulay cuts across the lead that came there from Fowler, did well, hand pass to Johnson. The big man gets it off to Robertson, who's been superb, and Robertson finishes off his game nicely by finding Oakley Nichols. Foot pass up toward Pryor, took it on the half volley. Now the East Perth supporters think he may have been taken high, the umpire giving him the benefit of the doubt, because he could easily, after that, been holding the ball. As we go down to Todd Ridley, who's got an update on Brett Eads.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. Spoke to Dave Dawes, former player, now physio. He's hopefully may come back on, but he may also have a bit of a crack in his lower leg. So not knee, but still may not appear for the rest of the day.
Thanks, Todd. He's moving pretty gingerly, as you can see from the pictures there. Now, we haven't advanced anywhere from that initial bounce, but holding the ball. Well, no attempt to get rid of it from Craig Wolfe, according to the umpire, and Van Berlo will get the free kick. He was the leading ball winner on the ground at half-time, and that's a good kick for Hutchings. Salikas wants it short, so too Salisic. There's not a lot on offer further afield. Sailor's one out at the 50 with Sweet, so Hutchings has to go very short and hit up his captain in Salisic. He's bereft of options as well. Man on man all in front of him. So he goes short, and White will get in front of Sailor, who's the bigger body, although he was hit quite hard, White, and he's bounced back to his feet and won the football. Well done. Off to Oakley Nichols, who's corralled out of play by Tedesco. Holding the ball. Well, he had no chance to get rid of it, did he? And 50, that's really tough. Oakley Nichols a little slow to get it back to Tedesco. And now Tedesco is going to be taken within range.
I think the umpire just thought that he deliberately walked himself over the boundary line, Alex.
How about the 50, Phil? Was that there? The ball went back to him on the full.
Yeah, just time wasting, Todd. He threw it just too high.
So Tedesco
wasted half a second.
70 away. He's just going to set it up. That'll drop 30 from goal. Coonan will get a run at it and probably should have held on, maybe looking into the sun. He couldn't quite grasp it. Wolf out the back door. Zanetti is lurking dangerously, but well done, Robert, and he's been superb. Through to Anderson, Clutterbuck, and now Crozier. Clever hands over the top to Payne. And he runs off half-back, kicking around the corner. Clever tap from Brown. Running back with a flight here, Bartholomew. Had to be brave, and he got it to Pettigrew. And now the Falcons can set up again.
So Hunt goes with a short pass, Mascoulis. He's found some space in the middle of the ground on a few occasions. Gets it down onto his left boot, okay, but it clears the target. Finds one in Fowler, who ran onto the football. He hand passes it off to Salisic. That was clever. Great vision, great execution. Jason Salisic, under pressure, directed the ball out towards Anthony Sailor. And there he is, the man there. A great skipper's passage of play. You could see the intent was there. And now Sailor can shoot at goal from about 35 to 40 metres.
It's better than clever, Phil. That was superb. There's 182 games of experience.
It needs to be finished off with a goal. Sailor shoots at goal, and he's honoured his captain's good work. Well done, Sailor. 2 goals to him for the afternoon. And a terrific, inspiring passage of play by Jason Salisic will get the players and the supporters really fired up.
We spoke about how he did it with the left foot there. Took the picture, as we say, really got the acceleration going here. Saw that he had Sailor 1 on none out here, shot on goal, and Sailor did the rest. Salisic is one of those players that you would have loved to have seen to get a chance at the next level. Just in between, got injured at an incorrect time, but would have really loved to see him get an opportunity.
So those people who are looking at joining our competition to pick a state team, they were the comments of the state chairman of selectors. I'll take a line through that.
I think he was captain one year, wasn't he?
I'm sure he was.
Margin back to 14 points as it was at quarter time. Back in the middle. Oh, well, the umpire has to pay a free kick, but there will be remonstrations from the Falcons because their man was taken out. He had his head over the footy and he was crunched. Now, hopefully, this is going to die down, but look at this. Black was pushed into it by Wolf, and that was the problem. I know everybody's going to remonstrate with Dobson, who was coming the other way, but the little push has meant that Black hit him head on into his elbow and hips, and Dobson will have something to answer this week. Good to see Black up, but he looks very, very groggy.
He's holding his collarbone or shoulder. That looks as though, to me, it might be more than just a bit of concussion, unfortunately, Alex. Oh, maybe not.
And the captain, Jason Salisic, was the first one to remonstrate, leading from the front, and maybe this might really turn West Perth on now, and they'll lift again.
They're not going to wait for Black to come off the ground because he's very, very groggy. His legs almost falling beneath him as Salisic sends it inside 50. Flying in front was Alessio, but roving front and square. Clutterbuck to Johnson on his non-preferred. A flow to the outer side, read well by Flay, playing a long way in front of Pryor. That's good defending. That's why he's won 3 best and fairest.
Yeah, really beaten, but he's had a pretty good duel with Adam Pryor this afternoon. The applause there for Aaron Black coming off the ground. We may not see him again this afternoon. I'd be surprised if we did. As Flay goes very short to Fowler. The pass only 11 or 12 metres. Now Fowler told to play on. High kick from centre wing to the half-forward line. Wolf in front, marks it on his chest. Disappointing result for West Perth. Forwards need to play in front, Brad, as you know.
They do, but Wolf will always put his body on the line. We've seen a couple of the West Perth boys chop off leads from the West Perth forwards.
The Witches hat kicked it a bit stodgily there, but White did well to get it off to Sweet. Sweet's kicked to the half-forward line, bit of pushing and shoving. Smith went to the ground. Pryor's wrestling for it. Pettigrew flicks the wall to the boundary line, and now the East Perth player saying to the umpire that was deliberate. See, that Witches hat comment's going to get back to him, Alex. I can't wait to tell him.
It will. I'll wear that. His chase was superb after I gave him a big sledge. He was made to look to stand still, really.
Boundary throw in. Johnson does well. Double palms the ball down to his rover in pain, but he can't clear the area.
Fluoro orange, Witch's hat, or one of those yellow cones, the new age?
The big orange ones.
Big orange ones. Ball up. The 219s. Coonan won it. Going after it there was Van Berlo. Workman-like kick, but unfortunately off balance. The ball has gone over the line, out of bounds, and there'll be a free kick to East Perth. And again, it'll be Paul Johnson to take it.
He's been a good recruit, no doubt about that. A guy with 70 games AFL experience at 3 clubs. He's gone short to wide. He's got AFL experience to Sweet, who can set it high. Now Smith's going to get a run here and used his body magnificently, but he's been penalised for a push before the football got there. It was tough, but it might well have been there. Just a little forearm here. Gee, that's very tough.
It's very much the side to mine.
Maybe it was a little early, who knows, but having said that,
I think it was just too high. He touched him on the shoulder.
McCauley's going to drive it to centre half forward. That's a great kick, but Crozier with that vertical leap couldn't hang on. Tedesco went to his knees, not the best option when you're in the back half. Well done by Sweet. Got it out to Payne, who sends a floater end on end, and Pryor gets on the end of it.
The supporters are really getting involved. That's been a good duel, hasn't it, Flay and Pryor?
It has, and Pryor just needs to take his opportunity. Had he taken his opportunity on goal, he'd probably be winning, but right now it's neck and neck.
He banged one out on the full earlier, but I did mention after that kick that he kicked 20 goals 5 last year. 25 shots, 20 goals 5. He's got 64-21 on his career, not including out of bounds on the full. Make that 65. Lovely finish, margin back to 20.
Round about the same spot. He had the one where he kicked him out of bounds on the full, so learnt from his mistake, which was good. We've spoken about the EPerth forward line and the ability for not only West Perth today, but oppositions going forward to be able to match them up. He's sort of the third pin. We look at Johnson and we look at Smith, but then we look at Pryor. Really good catch. And if he can actually kick like he has in those stats week in, week out, it's a really exciting three-prong attack.
That replay just showed the benefit of Paul Johnson's shepherd too. He just created some space by shepherding for the small man Payne, who kicked it forward. Bit of a fight back by East Fremantle, down by 6 goals at half-time. They're back to 11 points behind now, the Sharks.
And Phil, I can tell you now that the EPerth faithful just gave a big cheer because young Eads is warming up, ready to come back onto the ground. So great news there.
There's fantastic news. Eads preparing himself at the interchange area. Here's Moss trying to clear the area after the bounce. He's dispossessed, but Robertson's there to pick it up. Hand passes to Sweet, playing from behind by Bartholomew. Well done, Sweet. Kept the ball alive with a hand pass to Payne. He flips one off then to White. White's kick a little bit nondescript down to the half-forward line, and Jordan Jones, no, beg your pardon, Cody Manning, the last player to be near it before it crosses the white line. So Eads still waiting. I think a change has been made. Anderson off, and Michael Swan pulling rank. He's going on, accompanied by Jason Salicic, the two skippers just accompanying each other over the line. Aerial ping pong. Through comes Tedesco, hand passes to the grass, but Mascoulis is there. Goes by hand to Brown. Good long looping hand pass then from Brown to Bartholomew. One step kick off hands. Alessio did pretty well initially, but the hand pass wasn't great. Set Mascoulis a target, then his hand pass turns it over. It goes to Macaulay. Macaulay does better with his to Dobson. Dobson on the left boot, finds Robertson. Under no pressure, Robertson from the centre of the ground. Goes to Clutterbuck. They're still on centre wing, but just a little bit forward of that position. Now Clutterbuck indicates that he wants to go into the right full forward pocket. Pryor in front, knocked away from him. There's a chance for EPerth now. Smith got it from Crozier, and a clever, heady little short pass by Smith has found Grover. Haven't seen a lot of him, but he's pretty constructive, Grover, as Eads now on the ground. That's good to see, and Grover will shoot at goal from a little more than 30 metres, well perhaps 35 metres. And the angle not difficult. He should convert. This will put some scoreboard pressure on West Perth if he kicks straight. There it goes. Great execution by Grover. And a good team goal again. Very well thought out by Crozier and Smith to get the ball to that young man there. And that's a pretty comfortable break now, Brad, on the scoreboard. EPerth starting to flex their muscles a bit.
They are, and it's getting harder and harder, but really good basics here. Contest from the big fella, small man down front and centre. Good vision, look inside. Don't do the selfish thing and have a shot from the boundary. Look inside, get your options. 35-metre shot. Sometimes we make it a little bit more complicated than it is.
Aaron Black, guys, he's come out. He gave me a big smile, but unfortunately they've ruled him out with concussion. So they're going to be one down now, West Perth.
It's not good to hear. That was Cameron Grover's first goal in senior WAFL football in his 7th match, so well done to the 19-year-old. Back in the middle, the lead's the biggest it's been all day. Quick kick out of traffic forward by Jones. Sweet put his body on the line. Robertson dives on it, needs to get it out. He's been busy all day. Here's Salicic, the captain, leading from the front, but a hand pass forward. Van Berlo couldn't gather. Robertson pushed him out of it. Now Swan and Sweet just throws it on the boot. Oh, through Hutchings' hands. He needed to hang on to it. Into the dangerous hands of Moss, but his kick was smothered by Manning. Comes to Rasmussen, who can go to centre forward. Salikas will fly! And he got crunched as Macaulay was underneath it. Mark not paid, no free kick, and EPerth will come away. White hits Wolf. He's got a man on. Smith just sweating off. Pettigrew here, he sits underneath it. Pettigrew forced the spoil. Pryor roved well. Clutterbuck back to White. He's got time to go to the pocket. Did it get to Monteith? No. Tedesco could have caught him high. No free kick. Everything's happening. Pettigrew gets to his feet, trying to show some poise. He kicks dangerously across goal. Crozier, so good in the air, couldn't bring that one down. Rasmussen will come away for the Falcons.
And kicks to half-back, reeling into one-hander there is Van Berlo. Plays on quickly with a hand pass. Jones spears a pass up towards Salikas. He's paid that mark. Emerges from the shadows of the grandstand with a kick towards the lead of Fowler. Knocked away from him by Anderson. Comes then to Charters. Salikas pushed off it. Wolf got a hand pass to Sweet. He was under pressure but did pretty well with the left boot. The ball bounces over 3 players. Manning will get there first. under pressure from Monteith. Manning dives on the footy. You've got to be very careful when you do that. The ball appears. Here's a chance now for Oakley Nichols. Can he control it? Great effort by Manning to dive back on the footy. And it's going to be, someone's going to be penalised. And it's going to be Manning. And it seemed almost inevitable. The free kick taken by Oakley Nichols. He wanted to play on quickly, perhaps prematurely, but he gets the ball out in front of Smith. Flay is with him. Smith, Flay, the ball is handballed along the ground by Smith, hoping there for Martin, but there'll be a ball up. Just have a look at this effort by Anthony Salikas. He got up after this, which was good to see, and he wanted to know from the umpire why he wasn't awarded the mark of the century, as the ball has gone up towards the full forward line for East Perth, and a very, very timely mark taken by Dan Hunt.
Well, the game's just lifted a cog in intensity, hasn't it? Hunt to Hutchings and then Bartholomew. Down the line, Fowler couldn't hang on to it in the hands, and everyone would draw breath, the boundary throwing.
Well, you just feel, Alex, that yes, it's gone up in intensity. You feel West Perth are, hey, look, one more goal and this could be good night, Irene.
So throwing. Big body of Martin in front of Coonan. He won it to the front, but all of the East Perth players went to the back. And at the front, Van Berlo was taken high. He'll get the free kick. Payne, the man, giving away the kick to Van Berlo. And goes short to Mascoulis.
Starting to find his feet, young Mascoulis.
Yeah, so a classy left footer. Goes down the line. 2-on-1 here. Hutchings outnumbered. The fist came from behind by Grover. It's out of play again.
It's really difficult for an interstate rookie or interstate any player that comes across. You've got to learn your West Coast Eagles teammates. You've got to learn your WAFL teammates. You know, you're out of home, those type of things. So it's going to take a little bit of time for him to find his feet.
And he's straight out of underage footy as well for the Eastern Rangers. Hasn't played any senior footy at 18 years of age. So this is a big step up for him on the big grounds. A free kick in the ruck contest, and Coonan has no man on the mark, so he takes all the advantage he can and drives it deep, holding there between Fowler and Anderson. Oh, brilliant from Jones, spun out of trouble. Rice on the goal line. He's towed it through. He nearly missed it completely. But a goal to West Perth, and a badly needed one at that. Rice gets his second, margin back to 20.
Gee, I'm looking forward to seeing this in replay. He could have shepherded and let that ball just go through. Talk us through it, Brad.
Indeed, you're right. You're spot on the money there. Where Jones here gives the blind turn to no one. Check side kick that probably he thought was going to go through as we watch his reaction. Happy for the goal, but we don't get vision of the Rice, but certainly it could have just been allowed to roll through. But when in doubt, get the job done yourself.
But as Alex said, his first attempt, I think Ricey was a fresh air shot. He meant to get it with his left boot and almost inadvertently collected it with his right, and the goal was paid. So an important one for West Perth to get back, brings the margin back to 20, which is manageable. Johnson rucking well, although he didn't find a target. Van Berlo is in the way. He couldn't control it. Payne gathers the footy in, but he in turn is gathered in by two Falcons, and he's caught holding the ball. Okay, so Hutchings gives the hand pass to the back up of Brown. He kicks it out very, very wide. Jones is working hard. No one really near him. The kick could have been a lot better. He kicked it to Salisic, who had Johnson to beat. The ball comes to the ground. Wolf does brilliantly, gives it off to Johnson. He was nearly run down from behind, but got a pretty good kick away. Here's Eads showing no ill effects of the ankle or knee or shin or whatever it is. Eventually the ball is knocked away from him. Burns goes to the ground. A hand pass still in dispute. Brown does well. Throws his right boot at it. Now, what's the interpretation here? The umpire said he was under due pressure.
Good
and
decision.
The ball will be thrown into play. Yeah, that was a good decision indeed.
Spoken about Salikas all day. I'd just love to see West Perth and Bill Monahan throw him in for the last 5 minutes on ball. He's their best player today, arguably up and about. Get him up and going.
Van Berlo couldn't control it. Johnson has been a very good player, so too Wolf. Now to Clutterbuck. Hand pass to the call of Oakley Nichols, which was clever. Now Oakley Nichols is clever. Just fends off one would-be opponent in Bartholomew. Chips the ball very short, hoping more than anything else for Grover. Now he backs up his own work, kicks from the boundary line and has missed everything. Well, he got it to the boot okay, but maybe the more disciplined approach, Brad, a centering kick would have been the better option for him.
100% correct.
I think he's being told too by Tedesco.
100%. Top of the square, 25 metres out.
Kick through the behind post, all right? Come in, play first.
So Brown given instructions. Make sure he comes in the right way. He's got a man on very short, and he split him. Well, he had Rasmussen and Mascoulis, and he picked out Robertson right in between. And Robertson can go to Martin, and this will really hurt if the big fella can go back and kick his second.
And Stephen Brown, was it Brown, the turnover? So you just don't see him under normal circumstances making a mistake like that.
So he looks a pretty good recruit, Tim Martin from Port Melbourne, 23 years of age, a real lump of a lad from 45. It's an awkward kicking style, it's the wrong side. And West Perth breathe a sigh of relief, 21 the difference.
Had two options inside. Robertson went to the big fella. Probably should have gone to the better kick Wolf, I think.
Well, or he could have had a shot himself. I mean, didn't think it was that hard a shot from where he was. This time Stephen Brown goes with a thumping kick out towards the half-back line, but EPerth with the numbers. Mark taken by Clutterbuck, plays on with a quick pass to Grover. He doesn't fancy his chances, wants to go with a low hard pass to Eads on the second grab. He does brilliantly. Good lead, good mark. And now Eads, who's kicked 3 goals straight, can go back and convert his 4th.
Was good by Grover, wasn't it? Probably just outside his range, knew that, got back really quickly, and then Eads on the lead, shot for his 4th.
Brett Eads, this one is, if it's not already, it's going to make it very, very tough for West Perth. In comes Eads, stabs at it, pushes the ball, I think, slightly across. It is. So 1 point only for Eads, who blocks his copybook, but he can always blame his sore leg.
So West Perth still alive. EPerth could have really put them under the cosh with 2 late goals there. They've let him off the hook with a couple of misses. So Burns to Salukas, a long way up the ground, which Bill Monahan did hear you, Brad, getting him involved in the action. He kicks long to the wing. This is where you'd like him on the end of it, really. And at the back, Wolf read that so well. He knew it was going to carry the pack, and so he was at the back to clean up. To Johnson, who's really lifted in the second half and has been impressive. He's sweet. He's got Charters. The next option is McCauley. You can see him just in the distance there. And he's got some room to run. One bounce. He can have a second and a third, but he kicks into the corridor. And Wolf, how did he find that much space? Great kick by McCauley, but questionable marking from the Falcons.
It's really good vision, but even better execution by McCauley. Spoke about how he has turned it over a couple of times today, but this was well executed. And just too much latitude for a really experienced player to have.
Well, he hands off, not confident on the distance, so he goes to Smith, who blazes on the run and missed everything. Out of bounds on the full.
Wolf would have done better than that.
22, still the margin.
He found some space, you're right, Alex. That McCauley, just before that, had found a lot of spaces as well, hadn't he? So there's been a breakdown there in communication with the Falcons there somewhere along the line as Hunt will bring the ball into play. Peel Thunder fighting back at Brown Stadium. They've got it back to within 3 goals of Perth. Bit of a push in that contest, but Sweet stands firm, takes the mark, plays on, kicks from just outside 50. EPerth player in Smith went to the ground, and a mark could have easily been taken down there by the Falcons. They were the only ones left standing. And you see Pettigrew, there didn't seem to be much contact there.
Eyes on the football. So that was why the free kick wasn't paid. Pettigrew had his eyes on the ball all the time.
And Van Berlo, ultra-conservative, went the double fist over the line. Here's a hand pass from Zanetti. Awkward bounce, but straight into the hands there of Payne. Payne tried to screw the ball back to the goal square, I think, but didn't have enough elevation. Marked by Hunt, and Hunt's option not the best. He kicked it to a contest, and Robertson, a player in really good form, has outmarked a player making only his 2nd appearance at WAFL level. And he was outmarked consummately by this man, Dylan Robertson, who's in good form.
He's in terrific form. Yeah. You can just tell the player how crisp, how clean he is with his hands, his ability to mark that in a one-on-one contest.
He's in good enough form to kick this, I reckon, Brad, as he comes to about 45 metres. And again, I've put the mocker on him. He's snuck it through for a behind. Gee, I'm good at that.
So got a couple of victims today in the box.
We have.
Working hard, working well as a team.
We've been on song. Robertson 1 out of bounds on the full and a behind to his name despite the multitude of possessions that he's had. Hunt to himself. It's 14 inside 50s to 7 for the term, and yet the advantage is only 23, which is 11 up on half-time. Hutchings to Brown. Short here to Rice. He's got options short, but nothing longer. He hits Kiernan, who wanted to give it off. And Johnson was right there to knock down the hand pass. Clever from Bartholomew to tap it back to Mascoulis, who used good evasive skills to get to that left side. Alessio had to fly against the taller Anderson and really stood no chance. And Oakley Nichols was roving, and he's got numbers alongside him, but he can run away through the middle and drill it short for Reeds. Flay was brave, getting right back in front of him, knocking it to his own advantage, aided by Shepherd. Gets a hand pass away. Rasmussen can go short, and Coonan's got it again. Bartholomew's broadcast side, Siren will beat them. And so, despite a huge amount of football won East Perth's way, they only extended their lead by 11 points in that third term. At three-quarter time, 11-9-75, the Royals lead West Perth, 8-4-52.
Something's happening. Something's happening. Something's happening to my world. Something's happening to my world.
Just some of the thrills and spills in this game, which has been terrific for three quarters. The entertainment value is really, really high. The margin is 23 points. So West Perth within 4 kicks, but it's going to be pretty hard for them. What have they kicked for the day? Only 8 goals to this point in time. So you're going to have to say that the Falcons were really with their backs to the wall.
Absolutely. And Tony McCullough will be telling his players that this game should be put to bed. Let's put it to bed nice and early. Let's take our chances, which we didn't do. But on the flip side, Bill Monahan would be saying, come on, we're still in it, we're 4 goals down, you know, we're playing for, we're 0-3 at the end of this. If this goes under, we've got a tough run home. You know, I think he'll call on the inspiration of Aaron Black, putting his head over the footy, no longer joining them. Those type of things he'll be looking to really inspire his players to give them one last chance. But I think this game's done.
It's been tough. It's still warm out there. It's been tough physically, so the players are going to be feeling the pinch. We thought that East Perth might be a bit light on the bench with Eads. He's actually reappeared, but the reality is, Alex, that West Perth are now a player down because Black's not going to come back into the game with the concussion he sustained.
Yeah, but the opportunity is there for them to use that as inspiration. They would have played games where they've lost men before. It's no real excuse in the modern football. It's just a case of whether they can use the advantage of a slight breeze and really use that inspirational value that Black gave them with putting his head over the football to try and come back. It's a tough ask for them. They held up really strong in defence there, but they were under siege for a long period of time in that third term.
Yeah, it was a great act by young Aaron Black. Let's have a look at the goal scorers with a quarter to go. Eads 3, Smith and Crozier, the other multiple goal scorers for East Perth, and for the Falcons 3 with 2, Rice, Fowler and Saylor. As we look at some of the chief possession getters, Robert, and he is in stellar form, 12 marks and 23 possessions, 25 to Wolf and 7 marks. Payne has had 18. Josh Smith, 14 possessions and 6 marks, 2 goals, 1. Macaulay, 16 possessions. He really is a tyro. Sweet with 17, Clutterbuck with 13, and White has been hard working with 15 possessions. Van Berlo, 19, 15 to Hutchings. Flay has really had a good battle down in defence with Adam Pryor's taking 6 marks, though Flay. Bartholomew's had 13 marks, done some good things, one of which was a great long goal on the run. Brown with 14. Salikas has done some spectacular things aerially, 10 possessions. Probably his best quarter was the first. Dan Hunt, 10 kicks, 5 marks, and Rasmussen has been under notice frequently. So East Perth just getting their hands on the ball a bit more, going inside 59 more times. And quite an imbalance with the free kicks there, Brad, 29 to 17. And hit-outs going East Perth's way, quite convincingly 31 to 20.
Been pretty good, Big Martin in the ruck.
So, and the centre breaks even as well. Let's go down inside West Perth's huddle with a quarter to go in this game.
Get it in real quick, because that's what's got them on the back foot. So if we get it in quick, it just opens it up for our guys, our big forwards, and if not, it opens it up for our little guys, because there's not many numbers there.
If everyone's standing still, no one's going to be like that's what defenders like. Just keep moving.
So Bill Monahan giving the players some opportunities to work things out for themselves there. Anthony Saylor having his piece to say, and now Todd Ridley with his.
Thank you, Phil. Yeah, we heard the midfielders there say they can get it in quick. That's where they can actually take advantage and score heavily against East Perth. It hasn't worked too well so far. And on the other hand, Dan Hunt did a fair bit of talk with the back six, just about slowing the game down, getting a bit more control. They just wasted a bit there, and East Perth again were able to get a couple of easy goals just from mistakes by West Perth. And just a reminder, Phil, that unfortunately Aaron Black won't take any part in the game. He's concussed, even though he's on the bench and he looks fine. They're not going to risk him. And young Eads obviously is fine because he came back on, had a good shot at goal, but we'll keep an eye on him as well because he looks like he's struggling a bit.
Yeah, they might not need him, Todd, as it pans out, as we see some of the highlights of the third quarter, and in particular Josh Smith, who we just keep mentioning what a target he is. His physical presence is quite extraordinary. He's a powerful mark, very hard to work against in one-on-one duels, and you can see the way he just crashes through traffic. It'd be fairly onerous sight when you see him coming at you, Brad, and he's able to just break tackles at will almost.
He has. He's been super impressive today. He looks a lot fitter than he has last year. You know, maybe dropped a little bit of weight and worked really hard on his fitness, but as we see here, his ability to crash the packs and really use his size, this one was where he looked inside. Great unselfishness to set up Grover for his goal, but he's been really good today.
So the Royals with a quarter to go, they've certainly got the front running at the moment. Tony McHale making his point. And extraordinarily down at East Fremantle Oval, Clermont was 6 goals up at half-time. At three-quarter time, the Sharks are now 2 goals up over the Tigers. So perhaps the Tigers bubble about to burst, Brad.
Maybe a breeze down there.
Yeah.
Just take my Clermont Guernsey off.
There's not much of a breeze here, but it is a beautiful day in Perth. And we have been treated to some outstanding footy here at Medibank Stadium. And it looks very much like the Royals are going to be hard to be overcome in this game, but West Perth, you can be sure, be giving it their best shot. The ground looking in perfect condition as well. And at Brown Stadium, where Perth and Peel Thunder are doing battle, the Demons are 20 points in front of the Thunder, so you'd expect that that the home side there would finish over the top of Peel Thunder. Because next week we'll be travelling down to Bendigo Bank Stadium to watch Peel in action firsthand. They'll be taking on the Sharks, who, well, they've had an interesting start to the season, Brad. When you consider the first 2 rounds they sit out as byes, and they're playing their first game today, but obviously all of that pent-up enthusiasm is paying dividends.
A bit like Alex and myself having to sit out the first couple of rounds.
Yeah. Now, you see down there, Brad, I was just saying, Brett Eads testing out his leg. He looks good. He's had some shots on goal as we go to Tony McHale and Todd Ridley.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. Tony, 23-point lead. West Perth coming home. The breeze has picked up a little. Is it going to be enough?
Not concerned about that. We just need to keep playing our style of play. I thought our players played that particularly well that quarter. I thought they were terrific, a matter of fact. I think the thing that cost us was our inaccurate kicking.
Yeah, and certainly your pressure acts, your tackling has been sensational today, and I guess if you keep that up for the last quarter, you should win the game.
Players have played with a lot of heart for the last 2 weeks, and I hope they're rewarded in this final quarter.
Good on you, Tone. Thanks, mate.
Comments there from Tony McHale. They did actually kick 3 goals. What was it? 3 goals 5 in that quarter. So I think you made the point, Alex. They could have really put West Perth away, but there's certainly life left in this game with a quarter to go.
Well, they've had 9 more inside 50s for the match, and 20 scoring shots to 12, not counting a handful of out of bounds on the full, and yet it is the Royals who only lead by 23 points going into the last term, and they're kicking into a slight breeze to the city end, looking for their first win of 2012, as are the Falcons, but they're up against it. Wolf throwing his body at it, as he does so often. Van Berlo and Bartholomew have got him. The umpire says, I'll bounce it again.
Spoken about Martin in the ruck, but Paul Johnson's been pretty impressive with his tap-outs and his ability to put it down his little bloke's throat.
Yeah, they've outpointed Coonan today. Coonan hasn't really got the support of the second ruck, or a genuine second ruckman in this side, it must be said. Now, Holding going the way of Swan, and that'll level the free kick count up a little bit, as it was 17-29 at three-quarter time, which wouldn't have pleased Tony McHale after his comments during the week. Here's Sweet, sending it high inside 50. Can the little fella get a run at it? Eads, did he have the first piece of it? No, Flay did. And the redoubtable defender for the Falcons can rebound.
He's hurt his leg in that encounter then too, Eads. We might have seen the last of him. I don't think they need to risk him. Flay goes short to Rasmussen, shows a bit of toe as he plays on. Delivery was good as well as he gets the ball to Manning. We got the drop on Derricks. Backing up beautifully is Rasmussen. The kick not particularly tidy. Anderson knocked the ball away and then nearly marked it. Play on's the call. Hand passes at close quarters to Payne. He floats one up to the half-forward line. West Perth have the numbers. Dion Flay did beautifully, taking the mark, then playing on. Kicks the ball to the advantage of Saylor. Saylor got rid of Sweet. Now Saylor inside 50. Has a long shot on goal. Has he been accurate? I think he has. Gee, that's a great goal by West Perth. Terrific passage of play, starting with Dion Flay. Anthony Saylor's third, and what a start for the Falcons. Just the tonic that they needed, Brad.
Indeed, and we heard Saylor speak at the three-quarter time huddle about getting the ball in quick and getting it in so that he could take advantage of the lack of numbers down there, and that's exactly what Flay did. Backed himself in. He's been outstanding down there in the battle with Pryor, taking something like 6 or 7 marks, but got it in nice and quick, got it into advantage to his small forward, and we've had a treat from 2 small forwards in Eads and Saylor today, kicking goals at either end.
Great goal on the run by Anton Saylor. He made his debut in the West Perth Derby in round 1 of 2009. He's kicked 3 today. His best in his career is 4, only twice. So he might threaten it, and if he does, the Falcons will come right back into this contest. They're not too far away at the moment, and they're just rolling forward again. Saylor couldn't get clear. Manning throws his head over it. He got his hands out to Van Berlo, who reeled it in very well. Back to Bartholomew, who can throw it on the boot. Who's inside 50? Well, Fowler got away from his opponent, but couldn't quite hang on to the mark. The ball's still in dispute. Sweet fishes it out the back. That was dangerous. Jones runs onto it. He hooks towards goal, but it bounces the wrong side behind. But they are coming, and coming with a rush.
So East Perth back into play, and a target is found in the form of Clutterbuck out there, left half back. Well, the Falcons have got out of the blocks brilliantly in this final quarter. East Perth now have to steady Flay opposed to Pryor again, and Flay does brilliantly. He knows when to mark. Pryor not particularly happy with that. I think Dion Flay happy enough to be on top of that contest at the moment, not making many mistakes at all.
No blocks, no holds.
And as Alex has said on a few occasions this afternoon, triple best and fairest, not hard to see why. Johnson using his body and wins the tap almost initially to his own advantage. Now he does collect the footy. He's been most impressive, Johnson. The hand pass not great, didn't really have a target to go to. Jones tried to dive on the footy, has a second attempt, not successful. The ball appears for Oakley Nichols. He was a little bit tentative with his attack on the footy. Now he's given away a free kick, and West Perth had the advantage. It's ended up with Coonan, who was just sitting off that contest. Delivery from the big man was great. Hits the chest of Fowler, who will shoot at goal from 35 metres. Angle not an issue. There's only one team out there at the moment, Brad.
Outstanding skills from the big fella. I thought he could have taken all the space in front of him and kicked it himself, but Darren Jarman liked it. 35 metres, lace out, bang.
Ooh, big raps there for. I'm sure that young Chris Coonan will be pretty happy with that parallel. Now Fowler needs to convert. The kick looks all right off the boot. Pushed it slightly, but he's happy with it. High fives all round, pat on the head. He's now got, did you say 3? He has 2. Thanks, Alex. 3 goals to Fowler. It's been an auspicious display. I was going to say, Brad, that they may be able to move him out to centre half forward and give him a bit more space to run around him, because he hits contests pretty hard, but Bill Monahan persisting with him at full forward, and that has paid dividends.
It has, and he took that really nice mark with the kick to advantage, as we saw in, I think, the second quarter. But 3 goals from your full forward on a day where your team's kicked 10, can't ask for much more on debut.
Yes, looks like a good recruit. Margin back to 10 points. It's the closest it's been since the second term. And remember, the Falcons are going with the aid of a slight breeze to the left of screen here in the last. Honours even from that ruck contest. Wolf with an awkward torpedo into space. Robertson has been superb. Upwards of 24 possessions. He places it out in front of Crozier. Good jump. Couldn't hang on. Rasmussen right there with him. He fought pretty well there. Got it out to Tedesco. And now Salisic, who needs a couple of bites. He's got some time. Clever underground hand pass to Pettigrew. Now out to Rasmussen. Can he keep it in? He does. And he goes back into the corridor. Oh, the bounce was a bit cruel for Bartholomew, but the tap was very clever. Brown has time. A lot of thinking time. Van Berlo, Bartholomew, now Brown. Just bangs it towards half forward. Can Salikas get a run? That is very, very brave from Sweet. Back with the flight. And he's been paid either the free kick or the mark. I guess the West Perth fans are a little bit upset that Salikas didn't get the same treatment in the third term.
Gee, Wolf's foot pass was great then, Alex.
Yeah, he's hit Pryor on the chest on the outer side.
The catch was all right too. Pretty good hands at full tilt.
Yeah, those two have been battling it out all day, Pryor and Flay. Pryor winning that particular battle, kicks up to the half-forward line, hitting it there strongly was Smith, created an opportunity for a smaller player. However, it's Salisic who keeps his feet, just takes the ball away, sends the ball down the boundary line. Salikas needed to take it cleanly, allows Wolf in. He hand passes to Pryor. Another hand pass meant for Sweet. Sweet made the best of it. Then his disposal wasn't great. It was in the air for quite a while, and the tackle from Pryor, he just needed to temper that a little bit better because he got right over the shoulders of Salikas. Hand pass to Tedesco. Back to Salikas. Kick needed to go longer. I think it was knocked away too easily from Zanetti. And Anderson got it from Oakley Nichols. Now he backs up, gets it back from Pryor. Well done by Kyle Anderson. Hand pass then goes to Payne. Kicks it out in front of Smith. Looks as though he's getting pretty tired, the big man. Controls it pretty well around the left boot. That was a tide kick. Eads accelerates, chops a tackle from Burns, then doesn't straighten up enough. So you'd think fully fit earlier in the game, Eads would have just eaten that, but he's missed it. And an important miss in the context of this game, the margin of 11 points.
Did all the hard work and actually had the ability to run all the way into the goal.
I think his ankle is bothering him, but you are right, Phil. Under normal circumstances, he would have finished that with ease. So Burns ran it out of the square and hits Rasmussen. Up the line for Brown. Macaulay closing. Brown very strong to hang on to it. Goes for Bartholomew, who's really worked his way into the game after a quiet opening term and a blind turn to get past Payne on his non-preferred. High in the Salikas direction. He turns wide and will get back onto the football with a little bit of space and time. It doesn't sit for him, but he can steady, screw it around the body. He didn't bend it back far enough. Well, he had a chance to straighten up as well. Misses at both ends, margin back to 10 points.
Seems to be the trend now with these players. You know, could run in, run straight at the goals. Saw some at the AFL level this morning, the Melbourne-Brisbane game. Run directly at the goals and hit the target as opposed to going on the angle.
Yeah, you even see Gary Ablett do it as Wolf has gone short to Sweet. East Perth under siege at the moment. Sweet back to Wolf. They're looking tired. They're making mistakes. And West Perth perhaps sensing something. Now Wolf will be called to play on. He is from the goal square, favours the outer side of the ground. Swan was the target, easily over the top. Fowler spoils and then immediately collapses with cramp. May not have had the same sort of pre-season as most of his teammates. Peel Thunder just 8 points behind Perth at Lathlane Park. The Demons might be having nightmares after having South come from well behind the week before and kicked 10 goals against them in the last quarter.
Yeah, they were less than a kick away from Claremont and got blown away in the last quarter of the opening round. Jardis sidesteps an opponent, goes long to the outer side. Pryor caught behind Flay. Gee, that's been a good duel to watch, Brad.
Probably the duel of the match.
Very good players. One really experienced and one big body coming across from Victoria.
Pettigrew and Smith has become a very important duel as well.
Really fought back, Pettigrew.
Yeah.
I'll probably put the cue in the rack too early with him.
Important ball to win here. Johnson couldn't get his boot to it. Salisic stole it out in front of Bartholomew, who continues to find space. He threw that. No free kick though. Swans on the end of it. It won't matter. The Royals will come away. Sweet to Wolf from a standing start. His kick wasn't great, but it finds the sanctuary of the boundary line.
Just feel East Perth need one more. Deflate West Perth a little bit and the job's done, but next goal to West Perth, anyone's game.
Yeah, 10 minutes have gone, 10 points the margin. Coonan and Johnson's been a good duel. Johnson wins this tap, goes down to Swan, but immediately he's claimed. West Perth are really on song at the moment. You can see Rice there. He was just chomping at the bit to lay the tackle on Swan. Forces another stoppage.
Who can break this game open, Brad? Individual-wise.
I'd like to see Moss get on the ground. I think he's off at the moment. He may have just come back on then, but Gary Moss is one that could. And I'd also like, as I've been all day, Salikas, get him on ball.
Payne to Grover, Grover back to Payne, and then Payne's kick beautifully marked over the top of Grover by Salicic. That's an important mark by Jason Salicic. The netting on the lead, knocked away from him by Anderson. Crumbing it nicely, Grover. Hand pass to Clutterbuck. Oh, the hand pass to Anderson was a little bit too slick. Clutterbuck's got time to go back and tidy up. Goes short, hand pass to Payne. The short pass was dropped by Oakley Nichols. Got out of it though with a hand pass to Anderson. Back to Clutterbuck. Long kick to Martin. Martin opposed down there by Hunt, who does well. Martin with superior strength, keeps his feet. Getting into the contest out there. Another West Perth player, may have been Rasmussen, it was, created something for Hutchings. Hutchings to Rice. Rice a long hand pass to Coonan, becoming important. Hand pass to Salicic. Good thinking by Salicic. Executed the hand pass nicely to Bartholomew at right half forward. 3 bounces. He knows how to kick a long goal. Great tackle there by Johnson. Bartholomew didn't get a boot to it. White gets a hand to it to Oakley Nichols. He gives it to Charters. East Perth may be out of trouble. Short pass meant for Wolf. Salicic spoilt. Martin has the footy. Bumped over the line by the smaller Rice. Game on here at Medibank Stadium. Still 10 points the margin.
This was outstanding.
Just what a great chase, Brad.
Outstanding from the big fella. Second time up, as we said earlier on. Deep into the last quarter.
He must have heard me earlier. That was brilliant. And his defensive work has been terrific today. Brown hacks it inside the 50 and it bounces out of play.
Just 5 the difference in the inside 50s now. So there's, still anxiety in the West Perth coaches box, but a sense of optimism now.
There's been 4 scoring shots to 1 in the last term, but they haven't really eaten into the advantage. Here's a chance. Rice for his third. Oh, he's banged it into the post. Not even he can believe how he missed that. 9 points the difference now.
Well, it just adds to the drama, Alex, doesn't it? As Marcus White chips it to himself, plays on into the pocket, goes for distance. It's a game of centimetres at the moment through the hands of Pettigrew. Crozer with the run of the footy, loses his balance, loses his grip on the footy. So still in West Perth's half of the field. They trail by 9 points. Still plenty of time, as you can see on the clock. Martin opposed to Coonan, who's had to ruck against the East Perth big men virtually all day, and gets it down to Brown. Brown got a hand pass out to Bartholomew, who fumbles, but he resurrects the situation. Hand pass to Jones. Jones into the pocket. On the lead there was it Manning, who's playing up forward, couldn't take the mark. Derricks is there, dispossessed. Through comes Jordan Jones, needs a centering kick. He delivers one into the goal square. Robert Knorr, he stood firm but couldn't complete the mark. Now it's knocked out of his hands. Drama unfolds once again. Well done by the young Mascoulis. Another behind. They're just chipping away the Falcons.
Can East Perth get one against the trend? They've really hardly got it past halfway. Robertson under pressure to a one-on-one, and Hunt was always going to win it. He was in the best spot, but he dropped the mark he needed to take. Now he's got Oakley Nichols, who's caught hold of the ball. Well, it's Oakley Nichols. Hunt's a little fortunate to get out of that jam. Short to Salicic. He's got Rice on at the 50. But he's looking further to the fat side. In fact, he drives it long up the middle. Zanetti against 2. Martin in front. Roving is Sweet to the big fella. It was really an unnecessary 1-2. Sweet to Clutterbuck. And now they're streaming off halfback to a 2-on-1 here. Pryor does well to get it to the front. He's got no rovers at his feet. And the Falcons come in number. Salicic hooks it back towards half forward. Coonan so brave. Zanetti coming the other way, hangs on. He's got Brown on deep. Salikas wants it deep as well. He doubles back. The kick goes into the pocket. Salikas can get a run. The fist from Charters, front and square. Mascoulis steps around the body. The youngster has kicked a miraculous goal. Margin back to 2 points.
Has he got some ability, Brad?
If you don't mind, madam, that was a fantastic finish from the young West Coast Eagles rookie. Big Zanetti, he's shown a little bit in the last 5 minutes as well. Good contest there from Rice, I think it was. Round the body on the left foot, wrong side of the body. Beautiful.
Great conversion by Mascoulis, and the thing about it is, Brad, a goal like that from a youngster, the clearance from Salicic back in the middle of the ground to win the contested ball, they are the things that really lift a team. And you can see that the Falcons have lifted. Their supporters have found voice. They can sense what would be a pretty miraculous victory if they're able to pull it off. Coonan wins the tap. Rice charges in from the side of the square. Beaten to it by Payne. His disposal goes to the grass. Jordan Jones will get there first. See there fit West Perth, finishing full of running, playing with inspiration. Jones into the pocket. Salikas has been an inspiration all day, but he has the ball knocked away from him. He's not deterred. He gets to the front of the contest. The Royals are there in numbers, but the Falcons have got more. Van Berlo gives it off to Jones. Jones, an untidy kick. Taken away by Grover. Hand pass to Martin. Not a great hand pass, but Macaulay makes the best of it. He dribbles a kick up towards centre wing. Smith, tired, gets to his feet. He's held without the footy and he'll get a free kick. Well, they need all the breaks they can get at the moment. The Royals, they're clinging on to a 2-point lead, and we are nearly 17 minutes into this final quarter.
Fair to say that he has no petrol left, Big Smith. His red light has been on for the last 5 or so minutes.
He's running on fumes. Here's Swan. The Falcons have not led since the opening minute of the match, where they kicked the opening behind. Since then, the Royals have been in front all day.
In 12 minutes down at East Fremantle Oval, East Fremantle have kicked 6 goals to Clermont's 1.
Robertson goes high, hoping for a mark, and Pryor provides. He squares it up. Payne too far out to score. There's a fair bit of space in the corridor. No one's yet led to that spot. Eads goes now, but Payne looks longer. Smith just standing there with Pettigrew. Trying to get a run out was Crozier, but he couldn't get off the ground. Flay left it behind. Smith out of nothing. Oh, he's just missed to the near side.
This will go down as one of the great all-time Perth derbies. 2 more to come this season. One on the Foundation Day Monday to go parallel with the Fremantle Derby, and one in round 24, the last qualifying game of the year. Just imagine if it comes down to a place in the 4 between these two sides. Short pass from Burns to Salisic. Asked to play on. Goes with the kick looking to Coonan. She's still got plenty in the tank by the look of it. Coonan gets the ball into his boot. Brilliantly good, safe hands of Anthony Salikas. What a game he's played. What a game Coonan's played as well. Salikas into the pocket. Oh, a couple of West Perth players have got the drop on their opponents. Unfortunately, cruelly even, the bounce of the ball beats them. Goes to Sweet. Hand pass to White. White finds a man in Martin. The big man not getting any shorter either. Hand pass to Pryor. Long hand pass to Charters. East Perth have found something as the Charters kick lobs in front of Smith. Crashes another tackle. Hand pass to Monteith. Steadying kick down towards Eads. Fell over his own feet. I don't think he's fit. Oh, it's Burns who's cleared at East Perth supporters wanting a free kick. Van Berlo, kicks centimetre perfect to Jones in the centre circle. In fact, it's Hutchings. Mark Hutchings gets up with a hand pass to Brown, straight down the middle of the ground. Oh, Fowler's just unattended. The wheels have come off, at least temporarily for East Perth. Fowler with 10 metres in the clear, and Tony McHale, the worry lines are starting to deepen. Fowler can go back and line up his 4th goal. It could be a match winner, Brad.
Lining up for his 4th on debut. For mine, Eads isn't fit. You're playing a man down. Get someone in the last 10 minutes on there that can actually move around.
The boy from Southport, in his first game for the Falcons in a Perth derby, if you don't mind, he's kicked 4. He could be the hero of the day. Well, we just get blessed week after week watching some marvellous WAFL footy, and here we are again with West Perth hitting the lead by 3 points, and probably less than, what do you reckon, Alex? 8 minutes, 9 minutes perhaps to go. Certainly not more than 10. A good confident kick by Fowler, Brad.
4 goals on debut.
4 goals neat, I make it, Alex.
Yeah, fantastic performance. What's an extraordinary scoreline. West Perth 4 goals for to East Perth 2 behinds. It was the same scoreline at Claremont Oval last week, yet it was East Perth 4-4 to Claremont 2 behinds, and they couldn't get the points. And West Perth are in front now, and they're up and running. Coonan sends it inside 50. Who can get back for the Royals? Derricks has had a quiet day. He runs into Salikas. Will he be caught holding the ball? You bet he will.
Have a look at him. The cheer squad for West Perth, famous all around the WAFL, they are on their feet.
Salikas has had a wonderful day. I reckon that's at least his third holding the ball decision from laying tackles.
And what are we, Alex? 21 minutes into the last quarter. We spoke about his defensive pressure in the first 30 seconds. In the first minute of the game, I think we were talking about how he set the standard for them. Defensive pressure, great effort.
He's already kicked one. He's got 253 in his career. You wouldn't want it in anybody else's hands. And the lead is now 9 points.
Great finish. I've been asking all day in the commentary box on deaf ears from Tony McHale to get him into the midfield, and that's why he's coached 300 plus games at this level. Not sure on that number, but why he's the genius coach that he is. Going down the wrong path there, Hammy, with Salikas.
He plays for West Perth.
Two exciders here. Bill Monaghan to get him into the midfield all day, but really good move by Monaghan to leave him there. And could be the match winner.
Well, what an important clearance this is, as Johnson goes up high, wins the tap. He'll do his own roving. He elects to soccer the ball off the ground. Fortune favours the brave. Tedesco left his man, and the ball went straight onto his chest. He finds Rice on centre wing. Forward go the Falcons again. Flying high down there was Manning. He's hurt himself. McCauley will get back. Hand passes it off to Charters. He can relieve pressure with a hand pass to Wolf. Wolf thought about going back to Charters. He'll do it all himself. Chips the ball high over the top of traffic. He is Sweet on left half back. Running hard is Grover. That's the way the pass goes. Into the corridor. Swan, the captain, has run hard. He accepts the ball forward of centre. Straightens up. Looks for and should have found Moss. He allowed the ball to bounce. Clever enough to get back onto his left. A thumping kick from Moss. And he's gone the wrong side of the post. Things just will not go right for the Royals, and look at the despair on their faces.
I'll tell you what, when he ducked back onto his left, you would have backed him 99 out of 100.
On fresh legs. That. On fresh legs, you would have.
He's so deadly normally, and that maybe tells you which way the Royals' day is going to go. Burns into the back pockets with Flay. He's been very impressive today, doing the hard work on Pryor. Goes up towards Johnson, who was always going to win that. Hutchings was out of his weight division. Johnson sends it deep. Can they get a fly, the Royals? No. Rice front and square. Salisic has a look around and no one's near him, so he can run away with Rice riding shotgun. They drew the man and down the wing they run. Rice 2 bounces. A third. He can keep going. He can get that 4 or 5. He now confronts Monteith and steps past him and sends it beyond the defence. Can Sailor fly from behind? He almost got a piece of it. But McCauley at the back. He's going to run it out of defence. Manning chasing so hard. Desperate attempt from the youngster. McCauley gets a kick clear. Johnson still labouring, working really hard to get on the end of it and see it out of bounds, and he might get a free kick. No. A throw in.
I think the young man who confronted him there in Fowler has come off second best. Look at the look of anxiety on the faces of the people here. There's still time for East Perth to get back, but time is ticking away. That looked like a blatant push. Coonan gets away with it. Fair hip and shoulder there on Hutchings. Players tired, falling over the footy. Still, the ball is alive, it appears. Rasmussen just shoved Moss out the way. His hand pass, though, was blind. Grover, a falling hand pass. Clutterbuck just gets a kick away under pressure. The bounce important here. Great body work by Salisic against his opposing captain. Creates some space for Rice, who's been important. A desperate punch out there by White. The ball, I think, deflected off a trainer.
It did.
Salisic, the game's got everything. He hand passes to Bartholomew, concedes ground back to Rice, who's racking up possessions. He's now had 8 kicks and 2 handballs, and the lion's share of them have come in the final quarter. He's been important. His effervescence and his fitness. He concedes more ground to Flay.
Don't mind this at all, Phil. Use a minute up. Use a minute and a half.
Well, that's what they're doing. It ended up with Burns. Now Hunt, he can use Rasmussen in the shadows. Oh, the ball hangs in the air. Oakley Nichols from behind dropped what he should have taken. Here's a chance for Brown. Hand passes the ball, unfortunately, to McCauley. He steadies, finds Payne. They need to find the next target. Payne lines up Moss. Great punch by Burns. He's been down for a lot of the day. Now he's coming to the fore. Combines with Hunt. Back to Burns. High kick from Burns, but they're still in trouble. Here's Anderson for East Perth. Oh, it should have been snapped out of the air by Crozier. Perhaps the Summer factor. Coonan got the hand pass to Tedesco. Now to Hunt. Cool in the crisis, Hunt, but the kick was a blind one. Bounces initially off the chest of Robertson, but Robertson controls it, gets the kick away. Smith couldn't take the mark. The crumbs are there for Burns. Burns works well in a confined space and does well to find a teammate. Van Berlo will settle them down. Behind him, East Perth players cramping up in big numbers.
Van Berlo to Coonan. It's going to be the players who can show composure here that'll get their side home. The men who can hold on to their marks.
Look at Salisic run.
Hit their targets. Rice has owned that outer side in the latter half of this term. Flay. Van Berlo keeps working. The bounce is kind for him. He's got Bartholomew on. He's kept running. He can take it and go. He wanted to hold up, but the best option was to go. Gets past Payne. Sends it deep. One out was Manning with Derricks, but Derricks beat him cold.
He could have used Salisic.
Now Wolf, Clutterbuck, they've got to move it. The Royals, they haven't got much time left.
Middle of the ground, Alex, take everything on, play on at all costs. That's what East Perth need to do now.
Well, Monteith's held up. Clutterbuck is the short option. They're out on their feet though, the Royals. They've just got no one moving. Sweet makes an effort, going back with the flight. Bartholomew worked hard to go with him, but Sweet got there. The kick was a beauty. Payne's on in the middle. And now the Falcons sweat back, setting up a zone across half-back. So Sweet just decides to run and kick down the line. Crozier can get a jump. He took 2 bites and he hangs on to it. Looks a classy player. Who's the option deep? Well, he goes the shorter one down the line. Payne had to stretch. He'll need to get up, wheel onto his right and send it as deep as he can. But the siren beats him. And the Falcons break a drought of 4 consecutive losses across the final series in 2011 and the first 2 matches of 2012. They finally get 4 points, beating East Perth by 8 points here at Leederville in a wonderful derby. 13-8-86. The Falcons beat the Royals 11-12-78.
Well, the agony and the ecstasy, Alex, you can see the despair on the East Perth players. They really seem to have this game in the bag, and by contrast, the elation of the West Perth players. Such an important win, not just this game, but the way that they needed to turn their club around, Brad, was so important to them. And you can see how much it meant for them, because they were 23 points down at three-quarter time with a man down on the bench, and just through sheer courage they have fought themselves to the top and pulled off a quite remarkable win.
Hats off to them. Outstanding. I thought they were gone. I said they were gone, but you know, really, what a great contest. Footy's back in round 3. To be able to see a contest like that East Perth will kick themselves, no doubt. But full credit to West Perth. You spoke about them being a man down. You know, to come back from 4 goals, have to kick 4 goals in the last quarter and win by a goal. You know,
and keep East Perth goalless.
Yeah.
Bill Monahan, well, he's finding it very difficult, I would imagine, to be remaining with that serious look on his face, because he must be the most relieved man in Perth at the moment.
He would have been very nervous in the box in the last quarter, but as I said, and full credit to that man there, number 11, who he just gave a sneaky high five to on the way through. But full credit to Bill Monahan and his match committee with how they stuck to their guns.
Well, the reason why Bill Monahan ran past Anthony Salikas is because Anthony Salikas was going to meet Todd Ridley, and Riddles is down there with one of the men of the day.
Yes, I am certainly down here with Anthony, and just got a high five from the coach. Mate, what a comeback. You looked gone at probably quarter time, half time, and something the club really needed.
Yeah, I think our defence stood up at the end, and you know, they came inside forward 50 that last quarter quite a bit, and our defence stood strong, and yeah, the boys just dug deep, and we didn't want to be 0-3, and pretty much it was our season on the line, I reckon, there. And Derby's always tough, and it's probably one of our good wins of the last 3-4 years.
Now, a couple goals for yourself, not the best return goal-wise, but your pressure up forward in particular was outstanding. Was that something that Billy put to the forwards at half-time? Because it really improved after half-time.
Yeah, it was always one of our main keys to have forward pressure. And you know, I was down a couple of weeks ago with my forward pressure, and Bill spoke to me about that and the other forwards, and we just wanted to keep it in. We know East Perth wanted a handball out, so we just wanted to put pressure on, and I think at the end that probably won us the game.
Congratulations, mate. Go and enjoy it.
Thanks very much.
No.
Yeah, well done, Todd. Slick by name, slick by nature, Anthony Salikas, and you can see the goal scorers there for the Falcons first. They were the winners. Fowler, 4 goals on debut, was terrific. Saylor with 3. Rice and Salikas, the man that Todd just spoke to, with a couple, Bartholomew and Musculis. And for the Royals, Eads kicked 3, Josh Smith and Crozier 2, singles to Grover, Pryor, Oakley Nichols and Martin. And you have a look at the quarter-by-quarters there. It was the Royals all the way, 14 points at quarter time, 12 at the half. By 23 points at three-quarter time, they looked as though they might have been unassailable. But we forgot to ask the Falcons, because they finished full of running, kicking 5 goals 4 in the last quarter to the Royals 3 behinds to run out winners by 8 points in quite a remarkable match and a terrific performance by the Falcons. The chief possession getters for EPerth. Look at that Wolf with 32 and 10 marks. He is just a machine. Robert in outstanding form with 14 marks. Sweet played a terrific game with lots and lots of run. 28 possessions and 8 marks. Payne, very good with 27 and 6. Clutterbuck with 22. Josh Smith got very tired. Didn't play much of a role in the second half. Macaulay battled on hard. Took 7 marks, had 20 possessions, and Pryor was a useful player in one of the duels of the day with Dion Flay. And we can see Flay there, 19 possessions and 11 marks himself. That was some duel. Van Berlo, 25, was very good with 10 marks. Brown got better as the game wore on. So too did Salisic. Bartholomew was very good, particularly in some patches where he linked up play. It was valuable. Salikas, with his tackling and forward pressure that Bill Monahan had insisted on. Hutchings with 17 possessions, and Rice, especially in that last quarter, was very, very important indeed. Throw it all together and, well, you look at those inside 50s. The Falcons levelled that up by the end of the game. Such was their dominance in the final quarter. The marks were pretty even. The handballs and the kicks certainly favoured EPerth, but as the game wore on, a lot of those were under enormous pressure, and the Falcons have finished the game with the important number that really counts. That's 8 points over the top of EPerth. Let's go downstairs and enjoy the Falcons song. Okay, we'll go downstairs. Todd Ridley is down there with a very, very happy Bill Monahan.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. I can just share the runes are going off, Billy. It's like a grand final.
Oh, look, we've been under a bit of pressure the last couple of weeks, and the boys were absolutely fantastic today. The Derby, our start to the season, mate, I couldn't be prouder of the boys today.
Yeah, and the forward line pressure, especially after half-time, was outstanding. The young, well, he's not that young, but the 20-year-old debutant Fowler was outstanding in front of goal too, 4 straight, I think.
Yeah, no, he was really good, and look, the boys really stepped up when it counted, and like I said, it can't be any prouder than what they gave us today.
Well done, Billy. Have a chat to him. Well done, mate.